And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, we are here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Once again, Heritage Hill Studios here with you, the Brew House, Heritage Hill out in Pompey. You'll find them on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York, out in the country, and you'll find them in the city, connected to so many pieces of our central New York community, right there at 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, at Sweetheart Corners at Heritage Hill North. So, make sure you head out there and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you. Plenty of great stuff that they have, live music, live entertainment. Of course, we're at Heritage Hill North every single month with the CNS North Stars, celebrating them. They are right up the road, Cicero North Syracuse High School, so you'll be able to see them at Heritage Hill North. And, of course, so many great things going on at both locations, including over the weekend, hot air balloon rides happening at Heritage Hill Brew House, and before that, Father's Day, which was incredible. So I look forward to you all going out there and having some fun supporting local at Heritage Hill. With that being said, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is live for you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with us around the country and the world, we appreciate you being here. And we are here on a very special day here today. And so make sure that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we are here on this very special broadcast, that you know how much we appreciate you. And today, June 24th, is a day where we celebrate my grandmother, my G-Mama. And a lot of you know about G-Mama. I talk about her a lot here on the show. So the conversation about her continues all throughout the year, and she is no stranger to my heart, and she is no stranger to the airwaves. And so my grandmother, my G-Mama, we will be celebrating her today on her Remembrance Day, on the day that she passed. She would not want people to be sad. She would not want people to be crying over her or anything like that. What she would want is for you to celebrate her. So we call it the Remembrance Day. And we will be celebrating her today, as I do every single day. So we'll have that at 10:45 a.m. this morning, as my mom and my aunt will be joining me to speak about their mom and my G-Mama. So a lot of great stuff coming up here. Before that, DT and Murphy, of course, with Brendan Murphy joining us on a Murph Monday. DT and Murphy coming to you with plenty to talk about, including the College World Series, which did what I was hoping it would do, which is force a Game 3, the all-important Game 3, winner-take-all between Tennessee and Texas A&M. Texas A&M got the victory first and foremost. Tennessee responded, and we will have Game 3 tonight. Very excited about that, to have Game 3 today happening here where sports truly meets that thing called life. Of course, we'll be covering that. We'll also be speaking on Major League Baseball, the Yankees, some injuries happening to the Yankees, the Mets, where they're at right now, some suspensions that have happened in Major League Baseball, and we will round out with our sports card show and tell, as we always do, proudly presented by the wonderful team at GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, and my aunt and myself about G-Mama here this morning. With that being said, we're bringing on the man of Monday here on the broadcast, Mr. Murph. Murph, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing good. I'm I'm enjoying life. It rained here, but the weather held up for Noah's birthday, my godson, so I was happy about that. The weather held up for the hot air balloon ride, so I'm happy about that. So
Oh, that must have been
ultimately,
cool.
yeah, ultimately everything worked out weather-wise, and today it's raining a little, and that's okay. So
It's
the
gonna be
rain,
a lot cooler today.
yeah,
No more 95 degrees and brutal humidity.
yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I'm okay with
Me too.
getting back to some normalcy here. For me, do I am I accustomed to it? Yeah, I mean, I Florida's a second home, as y'all know, but
Hmm.
as much as I'm accustomed to it in Florida, it's different in my hometown of Syracuse, New York. It gets muggier.
Yeah.
The air gets a little bit tougher to breathe up here than it does down there. And I think people think I'm kidding, but I'm really not because I've lived in both places and I'm in both places every year by the grace of God. New York versus Florida, when it comes to heat, that 90-degree day, it's more manageable down in Florida than it is up in central New York. And for those of you that have been down to Florida and up in central New York, you can concur this. But that's the toughest part, Murph, is it's just like it feels like you're walking into a sauna every day. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You just like you want to take a shower, but then you're going to sweat when you leave. And by the way, to the restaurants out there that are not doing this, turn your air conditioning on. So, I mean, we went out.
For the love of God, please.
I'm not gonna say where I ate yesterday, but I will say that I met my mom and my aunt and one of their friends, and we went out to eat. And when I got out of the seat after having dinner, my shorts were sweaty, like damp. My back was damp, and I was like, it felt like I had just run a little
Oh
bit.
my God.
Yeah, it was gross. It was disgusting. I literally
Oh
sweat through.
God.
I sweat through dinner. It was disgusting.
That's not good.
No. So
That's not good.
so what's going on in Murph's world? How's everything going in Pennsylvania?
It's good. Went to a card show yesterday. Very impromptu. I was originally invited by one of my students to go play Lehigh Country Club,
Yeah.
and we decided not to go because it was earliest tea time we could get was 1 o'clock, and it was gonna be way too hot. Uh, so we I ended up going to a card show, sold a bunch of stuff, so I did okay there. Sold a lot of the stuff that I just got back from PSA, so ended up with some good stuff there. Um, Made good profit on that stuff too. Sold like $700 worth, and probably made it a good probably made a little over $200 on that stuff alone.
Yeah.
So we did good there, but it was a struggle to buy anything. Now, obviously nothing against the show. Cardboard Carnival was a great time. A lot of good dealers that I know, a lot of good people, but realistically, it was really tough to make deals with anybody. I mean, there was a deal I walked away over $5
Yeah.
because I'm like, this dude won't negotiate at all.
Yeah.
I've been the one to come up on the price, and I'm like, dude, you're not working with me at all. I will leave over $5. So, like that happened. I had a couple of people that priced their cards probably 15% over comps.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even come down to comps.
Yeah.
Like that's how bad it was. Like I'm trying to get a couple of Anthony Richardson RPAs, some Jalen Hurts stuff. They got it way overpriced and won't even come down. I was gonna buy. Like I was looking at this nice David Wright auto just for myself. Guy says like $70. I'm like, okay. I go look it up. It's $20 card.
Yeah.
I literally said to the guy, like, dude, there's 5 sales at like 20 or $25. And he's like, well, no, I'm gonna get 60 or $70 from somebody. I'm like, yeah, dude, go ahead. Like when you get that, let me know because you ain't getting that. There's a reason why your showcase is full.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I vividly remember that guy from a show last year. First show I did coming back. That guy rubbed me the wrong way, and he did again. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm not giving you any business.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here."
That's a fool me.
So
That's a fool me twice, Murph. When you have that first gut feeling with somebody, and then you're like, "I'll give them a shot," and then they have the exact same. You have the exact same experience with that person.
basically,
That is the fool me twice. Where you go, "Oh, okay, my gut told me this is bad news bears." I did it again, thinking maybe you had a bad day, and it was bad news bears. So no more third time is
yeah.
what I typically do.
I was not. If I ever see that guy again at another show, I'm not giving him the time of day. I'm not buying squat from him. I won't even go to his table. I don't care what the card is. I won't even go to his table. I
Well,
won't.
that's the thing, though. I mean,
Um,
when it comes to this stuff, and you and I, you do it more than me. I mean, you're traveling around and whatnot. But when we do these things, I try to be fair. And, people hear about every morning here on the broadcast, we talk about GG cards and breaks. They're fair. They're fair to me. They're fair
yeah.
to people. They understand. They're trying to make money as a business. They're trying to not totally disrespect someone. They try to help out the community where they can. They'll like have kids come in and buy from kids and do different stuff there, but they're very honest with people, and they put hours of like what someone brings in a collection. They put in hours and hours and hours of work. And sometimes, and this is the thing that's really really sad, sometimes people will go to the expert to get the right price, and then they'll screw over the expert and then go try and sell it. And to me, when you have a resource like GG Cards and Breaks, you utilize that resource and you build a relationship with that resource, because it is hard to trust a lot of people in the sports card business, because some people are in it just for fun, some people are in it strictly to make money, and some people are in it to hopefully make money and have fun. They're somewhere in the middle, but you have to, yeah, me too. But you have to be around people that are fair. And I told you about someone that I experienced at a show, and I won't, when I see that person, I have somebody watch my table and I walk
Oh, I
away
know
from
who you're
my
talking
table.
about.
Yeah, I walk away from my table because I mean, there's this guy who's like, I don't know anything about sports cards, and then he pulls out one card from his pocket. He's like, I got this card. I don't even know anything about sports, but I got this card. What do you think about this? Is this good? And then as he's talking to you, he pulls out another card, and there's another card, and it's like he's pulling them out of his backpack and inside of his jacket and in this other pant. Before I know it, there's like 80 cards on the table. And he's like, yeah, I don't know anything. And I was like, do you realize that you came here, you lied, you said you know nothing about cards. I gave you a price. You told me that was the wrong price. You told me that I wasn't doing the right thing, trying to screw you over. You're talking fast. I feel like I'm dealing with someone on a New York City street trying to sell me a hot dog. And at the end of the day, I told the guy, I said, this card is coming up maybe $20. I'm not giving you 80. It's coming up $19.99. You're not getting $80. And we kept going back and forth. And I was like you did, Murph. I was like, you can have a good day. You can go have a good day.
It's like,
I
don't
don't
waste
need the
my
time.
time.
But now when I see that person,
That's
I'll have somebody watch my table and I'll walk away. So I will. I don't, because I don't even
all.
want you to look at
All
my
I
stuff.
know. All I know is with that guy, and it was like, oh, I don't want to waste my time. But the other guy, the dad that I walked away from the deal for over $5,
Yeah.
he would not come off his numbers at all. I was like, first of all, I was baffled, and second of all, I was getting pissed at the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's $5. Walk away over that. If you want to, go ahead. Like there were certain cards that I'm looking at these, I'm like, you're not gonna get your prices for them, dude. You're not.
Yeah.
And he, and it was part of.
Oh, Murph froze here for a second. Let's see if he unfreezes.
Oh.
Let's see here. Can you? We gotta. Hold on one sec. Yeah, your internet's coming in and out. Give us 1 second here. We'll see if we can bring in Murph's video to unfreeze here for a second. Still frozen. So here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. There we go. So what were you saying, Murph? You froze there for me.
Oh, we're back.
Yes, you froze there for me.
No. I don't remember. What was the last part you heard?
You were talking about, we were talking about my situation, and then you said this guy, you'll walk away over $5.
Yeah. I mean, the guy wouldn't move off his prices at all. And I was trying to make a deal with him because I was going to trade him a couple of cards that I had just gotten. There was a nice little Saquon RPA that I liked.
Yeah.
It's a good card for Philly now. So, I'm looking through it and looking at making a deal for a couple of different cards, and like he wouldn't budge off of his numbers at all. I'm like, at the end when I left, I'm like, dude, like, words I would not say on this broadcast is what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the story of my life yesterday. And my buddy Sean, who you had met up at I think at the very first show we did at Collectors Fest.
Yeah.
That I took the drive with, he wasn't able to make any deals either because he was like he tries to buy lots.
Yeah.
So he'll buy like maybe not an entire showcase, but he'll buy a bunch of stuff from somebody.
Yeah.
He couldn't get deals done either because people wouldn't budge.
Yeah.
People wouldn't negotiate. So, it's hard. It's hard when you can't, when people won't, come off their prices at all. When I'm a dealer, I do work with people on prices. I know how much I'm into a card for. If I can make profit, I will.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy was honest with me when he told me about the Saquon. He's like, I just paid $130 for that. I'm like, well, it's not worth that, but I'm okay giving you that because the patch is much better than the comps. Like, this was a way better patch than any of the comps. The comps were napkin patches.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll do this at 130 so you don't lose money there. I won't go any more, but I'll do this at 130. And he was cool with that. There was other cards that we were trying to figure out that he just wouldn't budge on prices. And I'm like, dude, like the one was a Drake London rookie auto, like not an expensive card.
Yeah.
Comps at like $45, wouldn't come lower than 40. I'm like, I'd do 35.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, Green Prism. Comps at like 85. Would go lower than 80. Dude, come on. Like, let's be honest. Like, you ain't getting 85. Or you ain't getting $80. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
So I walked away from that one. At the end, I tried to make a couple of deals with people. And again, same thing. People would not move up their prices. It was not an easy show as a buyer.
Yeah.
It was not hard to sell cards because the guy I sold all those cards to, I made deals with him before. Like I've sold him cards before. And the way he does it, we look at the comps of each card. This is what it sells for. This is what he's willing to pay. We negotiate on a price. Once we agree on a price, sticker off to the side, on to the next one.
Right.
Literally all we have to do, there's no more negotiating at that point. All we have to do at the end is add up the total, and that's how much I get.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you negotiate it. You put this sticker over there and say, okay, this is a $115 card, let's say, and he says, I'll do it at 100. You say 95. You agree on 96. Let's say whatever. So you write down 96. You move on to the next card. And then you just
literally,
and then at the end,
then literally you just keep going. You add up the numbers at the end, and then that's the price.
Right.
Like it added up to $754. So he was like, well, "You want to do 750?" I'm like, why don't you do 755? So I'm like, I got to flip a coin, 750, 755. He goes, yeah, and he didn't call it or nothing. He flips his sticky notes and he goes, 755. You win 755. I was like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it's only $1, but still, it's.
But you want to have fun with it, right? You want to have a good
But
time.
That was the nice thing about it. Like, and I've sold him cards before. I mean, what he does is he sells to, like, whatnot guys.
Yeah.
But he's fair.
Yeah.
He doesn't buy. He's not trying to buy at 70%. he's buying at 80%.
Right.
So like if he buys at 80%, he sells it for 85 or 90% to whatnot guys who will sell at 100, then that works.
Yeah.
I've kind of decided to myself that I think from now on, like when I buy at shows, I'm going to tell everybody I'm buying at 80%. If there's a card I want, I'd pay more. I will buy at 80%. I will sell at 90%. I'll price it comps, be willing to come down to 90, and that's it. I think that's going to be my new philosophy at shows.
I mean,
now if someone buys a lot,
yeah.
like if somebody buys a bunch of stuff, then I'll come down off of that.
Yeah. My thing is like,
but buy at 80, sell at 90.
Right. I think it's, for me, it all comes down to honesty. It all comes down to honesty and fairness. Like, I'm obviously a Trevor Lawrence fan. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and
I'm so pissed I didn't send you that jersey in time.
Yeah,
I tried to, and it wouldn't go through, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was at my my godson's.
How much would you have paid for that?
I would honestly have to look it up
because jerseys, it's weird, it's tough. Like,
yeah.
I don't know necessarily what the jerseys are worth.
I know in my head. I mean, I know, they sell these jerseys for like over $100, and then they're going to say his autograph, so they're probably going to ask for $300 or $375 or something like that if it's Trevor. But I mean, what I
would have guessed probably like between $300 and $400. That would have been my guess. Right. I didn't ask him what the price was.
That's why my brain is saying $375 or $350. I mean, would I want to pay $350? No, but I mean, I would see what they would negotiate to. I think, and I would want some authenticated piece of this.
Oh, it was real.
Yeah, because
it had a I think it was JSA. It had a JSA cert, letter of authenticity.
I would have to have something in that respect. Like when I get autographs when I go to New York Comic Con for Superpowered Pop, when I get autographs out there, they have a sticker thing that we do. And so after you get the autograph, you can go straight to this whatchamacallit. You can go straight to talk to these people at this booth, and they will take in your stuff and like however many that you have, and they'll put out like licensed, authenticated like stickers onto everything. So my Michael J. Fox.
I think that's JSA.
So
I think that might be JSA or
yeah.
There's companies that do that. I know my Pete Rose ball. I got a Pete Rose ball sign. It's put away right now when we're getting ready to move.
Yeah.
But I have a Pete Rose signed ball that I got in Cooperstown, and then they had a thing where you could go to PSA and say, "Hey, I just got this ball signed. Can you authenticate it for me?"
Yeah.
And because like they just went and got it, so like, they know Pete Rose is signing.
Yeah.
Right? They know it's him. So all they did was slap the authentication on it, and you're good.
Yeah, and that's what they do. I mean, at this place, obviously, they know the people are there.
But I also, if I get autos for myself, I don't need authentication, right? I wanted that one in case I ever decide to sell it.
Yeah.
But at this point, I've got no desire to ever sell that ball because the fact of getting to meet Pete Rose, getting to shake his hand, getting to take a picture with him, getting to chat with him for a couple seconds, but like that is one I would never sell as far like right now. Yeah, I would never sell that ball.
I'm not going to sell these.
But there's plenty of things. Like there's plenty of things that I would. There's plenty of things I have in my collection that I would never sell.
Yeah.
Like my Mike Piazza ball. Only way I would sell that one is if I got one in person. I bought that one.
Yeah.
Only way I'd sell it is if I met Mike Piazza, shook his hand, and had him sign a ball. That's the only way I'd get rid of that ball. The helmet. The Kyle Pitts. Where is it? Here. The Kyle Pitts helmet. Never getting rid of that. My Tim Tebow jersey. Up here.
Yeah.
I will never get rid of that. Never.
Yeah, like I have
those two jerseys up there need to be framed.
Yeah.
That's a problem. I need those jerseys framed.
You can go to
I need them framed and be able to put up. Yeah, but I want to get it done nicely though. Like I want like my Tebow one. I want to get it done like professionally. Like I'd pay $100 to do that.
Yeah.
Just get it done professionally so that it has like it could have like it have a couple pictures in it. Um, you know, I'll get it. I can get it certified or whatever too. Like I don't need to get it certified. He signed it right in front of me. I handed him the jersey. I shook his hand. I told him, I'm a Gator fan because of him.
Yeah.
You know, he said, hopefully I'll see you in Gainesville one day at a game. And then he moved on to the next person. But, like, I don't need an authentication to say this thing's real. I know it's real.
Right.
I witnessed the man sign it.
Right.
If anybody tries to tell me it's not real, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I watched him sign it. So I know it's real.
Yeah.
I got plenty of things. I got plenty of things like that I know for a fact it's real because I watched them sign it.
Yeah. I mean,
I got it signed at a game or wherever.
I got this right here. And somebody could tell me, how do you know that this is real? Now, this is a Tully's coaster. Okay. On the other side of the Tully's coaster is Donovan McNabb. Now, my mom and I were at the restaurant, Tully's on Erie Boulevard. Donovan was working as a host. He was not like the guy.
I'm sure it was like a publicity thing, right?
No, he wasn't the guy yet. He was literally working as a host, was not the guy yet. And my mom and I were with my dad in the back, and I looked at this guy and I go, I think that's Donovan. My mom goes, yeah, I think you're right. My dad goes, you both are nuts. And I said, no, I think that's Donovan. My dad's like, there's no way that's Donovan. So we we went to the exit when we were leaving, walking out. My dad walked out. He was like, you guys are crazy. I'm going to get the car. So my mom goes over to Donovan. She goes, excuse me, can I ask you a question? She goes, are you Donovan McNabb? And he looks around and he goes like this to my mom. And like nobody apparently at Tully's knew. Like even people that worked with him were like not understanding, I guess, that he was at Syracuse because he hadn't like become the guy yet. And so my mom, she's like, we want something to sign. So he signed this coaster. And when he signed the coaster, I remember being sad because he played on the basketball team and I wanted number 25 because I'm a basketball player. And he signed the quarterback thing. And I was like, well, it's still Donovan McNabb. And I'll never forget what he said. I'll never forget where I was standing. And he's there. My mom's there. My mom's 4'11". He leaned down to the both of us and he whispered in our ears simultaneously. He said, hey, I know I'm not anything right now, but just watch. I might be somebody someday. And then
he wasn't wrong.
Then fast forward to seeing, being down in Florida at Disney, still remember exactly where I was, standing in front of the television like this, like they tell you you're not supposed to when you're a kid. And I said to my mom's like, what are you doing? Get ready. Get your swimming trunks on. I said, Ma, the draft is on. She's like, well, we're leaving. And I said, Ma, I got to wait till Donovan gets drafted. She goes, you better hope that he gets drafted soon. And she's like putting on her makeup and this, that, whatever. And Tim Couch was first. He got drafted second. I go, Mom, Donovan McNabb got drafted. The Philly fans booed. They were wearing Ricky Williams jerseys, number 34. They booed. I got mad. I couldn't understand why they were being so mean to Donovan. I looked at my mom. I go,
Eagles fans know nothing.
Yeah. And I was like, Mom, I was like, Donovan got drafted. She goes, good. Now we can go. And so, but this coaster, I mean, that entire story, everything about that, my mom and I were there, and we got the coaster signed. And
do you have like any contact with him? Like, if you've talked to him, like as a Syracuse alum, like
I have.
Like, does he, like, have you talked to him about that story at all? If I'm just curious, just genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I did a few years ago. He came back to Syracuse, and I got to do. They had like a pool interview thing where there was a bunch of us. So I was able to ask him something,
Okay,
but
yeah.
I haven't gotten to like take him aside and
Like
tell him the
one-on-one.
story and like take a picture with this or something like that, which I will do by the grace of God. But this is one of those. But I got a bunch of. I mean, I have Zach Chabane. I have Rob Welsh. I have a bunch of guys that played for us. I have Justin Pugh, who was a first-round pick. I have Jay
Oh,
Bromley.
by the Giants. I remember him.
Yeah, so I
First
got
round pick
Pugh.
by the Giants.
So Pugh and Shabane, I'm looking at a football right now that they both signed. We had dinner before the draft. So I literally went to Chili's on Erie Boulevard with Justin Pugh and Zach Shabane. Don't worry, NCAA, I didn't pay for anything, but like I paid for my food. But Justin Pugh and Zach Shabane.
I don't think it matters anymore now because Reggie Bush has the trophy back.
Yeah.
So I don't think they care anymore.
I don't trust the NCAA with anything, so I have to make sure that I do my disclaimer.
Well, yeah.
But Justin Pugh, Zach Shabane, we had dinner, so I have that. Floyd Little signed his book. I have that. It's Dale Shackelford, Rob Drummond signed things for me because they're good friends. Floyd Little signed my hat. Lawrence Moten signed my Six Flags basketball because we're friends. So, there's a ton of stuff in here that I don't have, like, here's the official, but it's like I physically was there for these things and saw these things happen. Now, one thing I would part with there's a couple things. Now, Damon Stoudemire, my favorite basketball player, Toronto Raptors. Fred Taylor, my favorite Jacksonville Jaguar. I have a Fred Taylor signed piece that has the authenticator, but I wasn't there for that. I bought it offline.
Okay.
Now, when I meet Fred and I talk with Fred and I shake his hand and maybe get him to sign something, then I could sell that because that to me I'm not connected to. And the Damon Stoudemire card that's off my left shoulder, Fred's off my right. The Damon Stoudemire card, I've met Damon Stoudemire. I've interviewed Damon Stoudemire. I've shaken hands with him, given him a hug, talked to him off the air, talked to him on the air. So, like, that card was, I bought it for a couple bucks on eBay. But, ultimately, to me, it's more of building the relationship. Like, I interviewed Damon, now I want to interview Fred. They were two of my white whales to interview. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep something, I think with the actors and the actresses, for me, I get it authenticated when I'm at Comic-Con because I just wanted it. I didn't do it for Boy Meets World, but I did it.
It's the same thing with the Pete Rose Ball.
Yeah, I did.
Me.
I didn't do
but
it for
for
Boy
you,
Meets
it
World, but I
sounds
just
like,
did it because I wanted to.
Yeah, but it sounds like for you got like the Fred Taylor and the David Stoudemire stuff. It's the same thing with me with the Piazza Ball. Like if I get one signed personally by Piazza in person, watching him sign it, yeah, I'll sell that ball. That ball's got an authentication. Like I'll get rid of that one. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
Even that Eli Manning football that I won the bid for. I like Eli Manning. I've always liked Eli Manning. I've had this conversation with people before. I don't hate the Giants.
Yeah.
I actually like the Giants. They're my second. Like everybody's got their second favorite team. They are mine.
Yeah.
The Giants and Jets really aren't a rivalry.
Yeah.
They play only once every 4 years. They play in the preseason every year, right? But they only play once every 4 years. So that's the only time that I will root against the Giants. So I like the Giants. I loved Saquon when he was on the Giants. I wore a Giants jersey to that Jaguars game that I went to.
Did you hear on Friday? I just got to tell you this really quick because you said Saquon. I heard a story and it was part of my annoying moment of the week. I talked to this person who last week had told me this story, and they said they named their dog Barkley after Saquon Barkley. And when Saquon left, because they're a Giants fan, they got so mad that they thought about returning their dog to the shelter. They changing their dog's name, and they had seven. Now you know how much jerseys cost, unless they got them from those random sites. But 7 Saquon Barkley's jerseys, lit them all on fire, burned every jersey, and considered changing their dog's name.
If he would have gone to like the Bills, the Chargers, wherever.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't have cared.
But it's because he went to the NFC East.
Because he went to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's because he went to the Eagles.
They would have burned it if he went to the
fans,
Cowboys. If he went to the Cowboys, they would have burned it too.
Yes, but I think more so because of the Eagles. Giants fans hate the Eagles.
And the Cowboys.
Absolutely. They hate the Cowboys too, but I think you can make the argument.
They don't like Washington, but Washington's been a non-factor for so many years.
Yeah. Washington is like what the Bills were for me.
Yeah.
Like, they're in our division, but they suck every year. They don't suck anymore.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, the Bills were terrible.
Patriots were terrible when I was growing up.
Awful.
Patriots were so bad. And then my buddy Chris was a Patriots fan, and they started to win, and they were obnoxious, and he was obnoxious. And I think that my loathing of the Patriots winning as a kid growing up is because my friend Chris was such he was just such a like just a fly buzzing around your face at all times about the Patriots. Like, he couldn't just let it be. And then when the Patriots beat the Jaguars, site at Foxborough, I'm coming out of Gillette Stadium. I had just got onto the sidewalk. The stadium is right to my left. And my producer at the time, Nick, who's a big Patriots fan, he called me. He's like, "What'd I tell you? I told you so. Y'all suck. We got you." I was like, "Dude, if you want our friendship to last past this moment, you need to hang the phone up right now, and you need to give me some time." Because as a broadcaster, I'm impartial. But I just saw my Jaguars get to the brink of a Super Bowl, and we're not in it. I'm emotional right now. I was just in the locker room with these guys right now, like doing interviews and whatnot, talking to Barry and Keese and all these guys. I need you to get off the phone with me. See, my problem is not necessarily the team. It's the people. Is the team obnoxious? Are the players obnoxious? Does the coach open their mouth when they speak? Are they obnoxious? But fans, man, some fans, man, and it could be any team. It's just like growing up. My buddy was a UConn fan.
Fans.
But what'd you say?
Eagles fans.
But I call it the city of brotherly hate. But I mean, there's something to be said about, like, my buddy grew up. He's a UConn fan, but he was so obnoxious about UConn that everybody's like, "Oh, Syracuse's biggest rival is Georgetown." But growing up from Syracuse, in my world, because of him and like him being obnoxious all the time, I put UConn up on the same place that I put Georgetown against Syracuse because he just wouldn't stop. So, I mean, listen, this is how I feel about this stuff. Yes, I understand the burning of I shouldn't say I understand it. I understand the frustration and I understand the angst, but my response to this person...
Just sell the jerseys.
But my response to that person was like, if each of those jerseys is over $100, you burned with tax $1,000. You literally set $1,000 on fire because you're mad. That's crazy.
But also, this is why I will never pay full price for jerseys. This is why I always get them on.
So that you can burn them and feel better.
No, but if the guy leaves,
yeah.
All right, I got a Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer jersey sitting in my closet. Never Mets anymore.
Yeah.
I could just sell. I paid $30 a piece for them.
Yeah.
I could just sell them for $15 and somebody can have it. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
I will not buy full price jerseys. I want to get now. I want a couple of Wyatt Langford jerseys. I want a Rangers one, the baby blue Rangers one.
Yeah.
And I want an orange Gator one. But I want those. They're going to cost me $60. Literally, total for the two. It's like, you can't even get one jersey for that.
No.
You can get 4 or 5 DHGA jerseys for the price of one, and they look just as good. When I was at the playoff game in 2020, after the game, the Mets lost, I went out and was hanging out by the SNY postgame show, and after they were done, like Todd Zeal, Jerry Blevins, they all came down, chat with the fans, sign autographs, took pictures, whatever. Todd Zeal said, "Dude, that jersey's awesome. Is that like a team issue jersey?" And in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, it's sweet, isn't it?" I paid $28 for that jersey, for my Pete Alonso jersey.
Yeah, and
it clearly, a former player thought it was legit.
Yeah,
that's how you know their stuff. The stuff is good.
Murph, I can tell you,
it's not perfect,
right? but it's good.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's close.
I got a bunch of Raptor
Like if you,
stuff that was cheap. I got like
oh yeah,
Raptor shorts because the stitching where it said Raptors like on your like above like where your tailbone is, it says Raptors, but because this stitching they did it wrong, it like condensed it so it still said Raptors, but you couldn't see it as clear. So they were $14 where they were probably $45, but because somebody did something with the stitching, they're like, I mean, and they're Raptor shorts. But I remember going to Stephen Barry's. I got black leather looking sneakers that were orange and blue. They look like Syracuse basketball leather sneakers. $14.99 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I got more compliments on those sneakers than I've gotten on any sneaker I've bought my entire life. And that was the cheapest pair of sneakers I've ever owned in my life.
yeah, yeah, it's funny. But that's why I like these things, though. I mean, like you can get the stuff. It may not necessarily be real, but it's dirt cheap, man. The amount of freaking jerseys I have that Tim Tebow jersey, that's a DHgate jersey.
Yeah.
People didn't question it.
No, because a jersey
He
is
just signed it.
A jersry is a jersey, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like when they say what's real, what's fake, this and that. I mean, listen, I bought an authentic Leonard Fournette jersey at a Jacksonville gas station. I don't know if they stole this from somebody. I don't know how they got it. They had two jerseys. They were hanging up on a wire. And I looked at the guy and I'm like, just for giggles here, because these are way overpriced all the time. I said, and it was like the ones that I loved. It was the gold and the teal, and they had like the tape looking pieces. They had them for a couple years and they got rid of them. And I don't know why, because I love those jerseys. But I was talking to the guy and I go, how much for the Leonard Fournette jersey? He goes, $60. And it's a real like it's the actual, it's got the black and the teal and the gold and the green numbers and like it's a real jersey. And it was just sitting there and he goes, yeah, I don't know, like $60. And I was like, yeah. And then I went to TJ Maxx. Was it TJ Maxx or Marshall's? One of those. I think it was Marshall's. I went to Marshall's in St. Augustine. Jalen Ramsey jersey, $20 at the time when he was still playing. $20. Again, just like the Leonard Fournette, an actual jersey, and it was Jalen Ramsey. There was no fake to this jersey, and so I got these really, really nice jerseys, and I love the makeup of them. I love the style of them. I would love it if we would bring them back, but I got Bortles, the Gold Rush, I got Ramsey green, and I got Fournette white, and none of them are on the team. However, my Leonard Fournette jersey is sick looking, and so is my Blake Bortles.
Yeah, I've
Bortles
seen that.
Nice.
I like the Bortles one.
Yeah,
I think that's a good jersey. But here's another reason why I buy the jerseys off that site. I have two Aaron Rodgers jerseys. The Jets just changed their uniforms.
Yeah,
I could easily go sell those Aaron Rodgers jerseys for $20 a piece, and use that $40 to get two more Aaron Rodgers jerseys. Or three, or get all three in the black, green, and white in the new uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had two Sam Darnold jerseys when they drafted him. They changed their jerseys the next year.
Yeah.
So I got the black one. Because I will say this. I think the Jets black jerseys are sweet. I love that they kept them with the throwback theme and redid them a little bit.
Yeah.
But the new jerseys are just very simple looking. It's the 80s jerseys.
Yeah.
Realistically. I love the way they look. I hated the old jerseys. Or the old jerseys. You know what I mean? I hated the way they looked. So now I'll get the new ones. I might maybe I'll sell the green one and keep the black one.
Yeah.
But I want the new style Gotham white of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I'm convinced.
But it's gonna be $30.
I'm convinced that Jacksonville went simple on their jerseys and did like the all teal with, because I like seeing the Jaguar on it. I like seeing all the different colors, the 4-color.
They're not as nice as they used to be.
They
used to have sick jerseys.
Right, and I had the
even 5 years. The year they had like Bortles and Fournette and all those guys, I'm talking about all those jerseys were sick.
Right, those are the ones I'm talking about. And I had the 4-color patch for Leonard Fournette, and I sold that. because and literally the guy goes, I'm not a Jaguars fan, it's just a sick patch. And he kept looking at it and we made a deal. So here's my thing. I think that we went no ton of different colors. There's no like outline on the white, which makes the jersey kind of look fake to me. And it's all teal, just white, no logos on it. I think
it's so plain.
I think we did this. I think we went plain on our jerseys because listen, I have my own apparel. We have a store online. And so, the more colors you do, the more things you do cost more money. I think Shad Khan is a genius. I think what he did was he cheapened how much it is to make each jersey so we could afford to pay Trevor Lawrence. So
that's true. That's true. We got a lot of money.
That's what I think we did. But it's funny because we got a lot of things to talk about this morning. But we talked about sports cards, we talked about jerseys, we talked about deals. I will say this: Murph is not going to.
Should I just show the only card I got now?
I was going to say you're not going to go to that guy's table, right? You're not going to go to that guy's table if he has Jets jerseys because you will never buy from him again. But
here's what it is: not buying from him.
Yeah, why don't you?
But
we'll do our sports card show and tell here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have us go on break here just for a second on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. We'll be back right after this. Murph and I will do show and tell early. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here. which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill coming to you at the brew house out in the country on God's landscape. I always say that. It looks like God literally took a paintbrush and you could stop anywhere on the side of the road by Heritage Hill Brew House at Heritage Hill Brew House, and you could paint something absolutely miraculous. And that is out on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York. You can Cicero, Clay, Beeville. It is such an easy place to get to. It's just outside of the airport, Syracuse Hancock International Airport. You will find Heritage Hill North in the hustle and bustle. It is an amazing space. They just opened a couple months ago, and you got to go check them out at Heritage Hill North. 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse. And coming to both locations, they are not only their creations, but cans and ready for you to either have there or take with you and bring them home. Of course, you don't open them in the car. I have to say that in today's world and in the world in general. But you can go to Heritage Hill North or Heritage Hill Brew House coming up here very soon and get the coconut cluster, which is coconut, chocolate, all swung into their beer. And then they have the Party Hearty, which is half iced tea, half lemonade. And that is a great one as well. And I'm itching to get Murph up here because I know he's going to like the brew house. I know he's going to like Heritage Hill North as well.
I would.
So
I gotta try and get up there again. We gotta see. I mean, are they doing another show up there at all at any point?
Not until the fall. So if I can get you up here before then,
Okay.
it would not be for.
Yeah, even if it's not for a show. Well, I mean, because we do still have a little golf segment that we want to shoot.
Yes, we do.
That we have been talking about.
Yes, we do.
So that's something that we'll need to do. Maybe we should see if are there any of the schools that you work with that are doing any golf outings over the summer on a Monday?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is something
that you would play in. Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely something coming up here and within the next few weeks potentially. But yeah, no, there's definitely some things, and there's other small shows that come up too. There's like Watertown shows, and there's shows out in like Beeville and whatnot, sports card shows. So there's definitely action to be had for us.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm bringing you to the brew house and the Heritage Hill North.
Oh, 100. I want to go to both.
They're two different experience. Great stuff, great people. The Palladino family, run by Dan Palladino. Awesome staff, Victoria, all the bartenders and the servers. Thanks to everybody. But they're totally different from each other. So if I'm going to bring you to one, I'm going to bring you to both.
Well, is it like the ambiance that's different? Because I would assume they have the same beers, right?
Yeah, the ambiance and is a different menu too. So the ambiance is different.
Okay, yeah.
Heritage Hill North.
It's like barley. Yeah, because I took you to both. Because we went to Maine Barley up at up at the corner going up by Camelback, and then we took you to the tasting room. So both it sounds like it's kind of sort of the same thing. So does the North one have like a smaller menu, or is it? Because I know the tasting room only has like bar food.
Yeah, so the North one has their homemade chips, and it has a few things.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's got a few of their things, homemade chips included. They just started this pretzel thing that they just put together over the weekend.
Ooh.
And then they have a bunch of different pizzas, their style, all of them uniquely flavored. And then out at Heritage Hill Brew House, it's more of that like they've been doing chicken barbecues. They've been doing a lot of really cool things. The Father's Day spread was great. It was different from the Mother's Day spread. So I brought my mom out for Mother's Day. Brought my dad out for Father's Day. Got some steamed clams, some prime rib. So there's a lot of good stuff at
That
both
sounds good.
locations. But they're
I want to
definitely,
go to both.
yeah, they're
I do.
definitely different. They're unique. And the brew house, because it's out in the country, they have like hammocks. They have all these places to sit outside. There's an
Oh,
enclosed
that's
place to
great.
sit outside that's like a glass cube. So if it's raining, you can sit
How
there. It's cool.
how late are they open?
So the brew house, so they're both different. So I'll tell you right now. So the brew house, let me make sure that I
Because like
differentiate
to
between the two
me,
for you.
there's nothing better in the summer
Yeah.
than sitting outside with a bonfire, drinking a beer.
Yeah, so
Like there's nothing better.
the brew house out in Pompey is open 4 to 9 on Thursday, 12 to 9 on Friday, 11 to 9 on Saturday, and 10 to 7 on Sunday. They're closed Monday,
So
Tuesday,
they're
and
open till
Wednesday.
9.
Yep. And
Okay.
then Heritage Hill North, their times, they're going to be at Heritage Hill North, just to get you everything here updated. Make sure I got it all. So they're closed Monday and Tuesday, and they're open till 12 to 9 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they do have outside seating as well. Friday 12 to 10, Saturday 12 to 10, and Sunday 12 to 6.
Okay. But yeah, like next time I come up, we're definitely going.
Yeah.
Right? Like because I love beer.
Yeah, you're going to like
This
these
I
places.
love going to try different beers too.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure they have flights where you can try 4 different beers and everything. Like that's something that I'll do. You know, pick a few different beers, try the ones that I like, and go from there. Um, but I like the atmosphere of trying different things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like
They also have cool
like
gear.
first
Murph.
time.
They got some
Oh, that's
cool
a good one.
They got some cool gear.
I'm gonna have a hat. I mean, I love my trucker hat, so I'm gonna have to get a hat.
Yeah. My dad got one for Father's Day, and I got this one that I had been staring at. And then shout out to
Yeah.
Victoria Matterell. But I got this one, and my dad picked out one on Father's Day.
Do they have different colors
a
or
week
just that
ago.
one?
No, my dad they got a bunch of different ones. He got one that like
Mhm.
writes it out, and I think his is more tan.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, this is my, because I love the emblem here, and it kind of looks like a soccer logo, so I just think it's really
Yeah.
cool for Heritage Hill. But then he picked out a different one, so he got his, I got mine, and we got it on Father's Day. But yeah, they got a whole store. They got shirts. They have the New York State thing with beer there, and they got stuff on the back. So
Nice.
they got some really, really cool. I mean, listen, Heritage Hill in and of itself, it's ingrained in our community. It's such a big part of our community. Heritage Hill North is expanding the name and the brand and bringing it literally to people that either drove out to the brew house that lived 20, 30 minutes away. Now it's closer to them because one of my friends was like, yeah, we go out to the brew house all the time in Pompey. And they said now that they got the one in North Syracuse, it's literally like down the road from us a few minutes. So now that they're both
Yeah.
there, they have one in the country, one in the city, essentially. It is. I mean, it's and going around the grounds with my dad and looking at stuff, and I got something coming up. I haven't talked about it yet, but you're getting an invitation to this. It's in November, but we were kind of touring some
When in
space
November?
early November. Like
Day of the week.
it's gonna be on a weekend because it's a big event for something in my life. So
Would it be like a 2-day event or just a 1-day event?
I mean, for the people that come in, I would imagine some of them are gonna stay, but it's
I would guess it's probably on a Saturday.
it's gonna be on it's an honorary, it's a big time thing in my career that is being honored this year in November.
Okay.
And it's yeah.
So I'll have to save it. I have to save a PTO day then. I got to make sure I save one.
Yeah, it's more than likely. Let me see here. It's more than likely the 2nd or the 9th of November.
Okay.
But just so you know, and now the world knows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just, I just kind of having a personal conversation with Murph. But yeah, I mean, obviously, this thing that's going on, folks, for those of you watching and listening, is going to be shown in some way, shape, or form, maybe after the fact. But it's a very big time, and I'll talk about it on the show as we get closer to it. But the Wake Up Call, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, myself in general, my career is en route to some really awesome milestones, and one of them has to do with my number, my favorite number. So there's a celebratory thing that's going to be going on, and my dad and I were kind of walking around Heritage Hill, and we were looking at different space, and I was like, yeah, I got wheels are turning right now for sure. So
that's good.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's jump into some of the stuff. College World Series, as I said before, Texas A&M took game number 1. Many people have thoughts. I shouldn't say many. I should say the consensus this season is that Tennessee has been the best team in baseball. And so the consensus is that the Vols, I don't think people are surprised that they're here. Number 1 overall team. Texas A&M, as good as they can be, as good as they are, they're kind of the underdog in this specific scenario. It's the battle of the SEC, big surprise. And the SEC and the ACC are the only teams that made it to the final 8 in the College World Series for Division I. No surprise there. So seeing these southern schools literally below the Mason-Dixon line make it to the final 8 and then get to these final 2, it is a best of 3 series. It's a 3-game series. If you take the first 2, obviously it's over. So in the case of Texas A&M, they took game 1, and with Texas A&M taking game 1 as the quote-unquote underdog, they took that 9-5 on Saturday. And on Sunday, Tennessee won yesterday 4-1, and that 4-1 victory brings us to tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on my grandmother's Remembrance Day and Brandon Smith's birthday. Shout out to B. Happy birthday. June 24th, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and ESPN Plus, Tennessee will take on Texas A&M for a winner-take-all scenario. Tennessee is 59-13, Texas A&M 53-14, so they both won over 50 games this season, and whoever wins tonight will be crowned the champion. Your thoughts, Murph? Number 1, that it's a total SEC World Series. Are you surprised? And secondly, the fact that Texas A&M took game 1, could have closed it out yesterday, but now we have a literal elimination, do-or-die, winner-take-all scenario, which is great for baseball and great for the World Series, great for fans out there, that we know whoever wins tonight between the Vols and the Aggies will hoist the title this year.
Yeah, I got to be honest, since Florida lost, I haven't been following it as much. I mean, that's not 100% true. Like, I didn't watch the first 2 games, but I followed the first 2 games realistically. But Tennessee all year long, for the most part, has been the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
Right. We've all known that they were, this good. I'm trying to double check because I'm pretty sure this is 3 years in a row we've had an all SEC national championship series. I want to double check that. But as I do that, it's not surprising to see SEC versus SEC. It happened last year. It happened again this year. I'm still trying to find out who. Yeah, I'm still trying to double check and find out who ended up, like how many years in a row it's been. Let's see.
Yeah, well, if you look back at it,
2022. Okay, no, 2022 is Oklahoma and Ole Miss, so that's 2 years in a row. But it's happened with the SEC a lot. Okay, 3 out of 4 then. Mississippi State beat Vanderbilt in 2021. Obviously, there was no tournament in 2020.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt and Michigan in 2019. Okay.
LSU and Florida.
LSU, Florida last year.
Yeah.
Correct. It's not at all surprising to see multiple SEC teams in the National Championship Series.
Yeah.
As we all know, they dominate baseball all year. They were the number 1, 2, and 3 national seeds. I think it might have been 4 or 2, but I don't remember who that was. But realistically, for the Gators to get back to the to be in the Final Four for a second consecutive year, even after having as poor a season as they had, really, really happy there as a fan. I was disappointed that they lost, but they were a Cinderella story, realistically. But they could have beaten Texas A&M. They took 2 out of 3 from Texas A&M early in the season. Realistically, I mean, Texas A&M was 14-0, and in Florida they came to Gainesville and we beat them 2 out of 3. So they took 2 out of 3 from Texas A&M as a team that was starting to struggle. After the Texas A&M series, that's when they kind of started to go downhill. But regardless, Texas A&M has been great all year. They've been led. They've had arguably the best relief pitcher in college baseball in Evan Eschenbach, who's pitching to, and I wanted to double check because I know it's stupid. Pitching to a 1.49 ERA. He's got 10 saves. Yeah. He's given up 12 earned runs all year in 72 2/3 innings. He's only walked 12, and he struck out 84 in 72 2/3. That's counting game 1 of the series. The kid's got great stuff.
Yeah.
He pitched against you had Tennessee winning game 2, obviously. They forced a decisive game 3. This is what it's all about, though. Like, when you're able to force a game 3, and in the College World Series, it's winner take all game 3. We had it last year. We have it again this year. But that's the best part, right? When you can have a winner take all. It's like a game 7.
Yeah.
I mean, completely off topic, but tell right now, the Panthers went up 3-0 in the series. The Oilers just forced a game 7.
Yeah.
Down 3-0. They just forced a game 7. If they win that series, I'm pretty sure they'd be the first team in NHL history to win the Stanley Cup being down 3-0 in the series.
NBA's never done it.
Absurd.
The NBA's never done it. So
baseball's never done it in the World Series. They did it. The Red Sox did it in the championship series. But that would be something. I think Game 7's tonight.
Yeah, Game 7 is tonight.
I don't know which one to watch.
Well, here's the thing. You don't really choose, because the World ESPN and ESPN Plus, the Game 7 between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers in Florida will happen tonight as well, but it will start at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC and ESPN Plus. So you can essentially watch the World Series to its conclusion and then just hop over to ABC or stay on ESPN.
Yeah, to watch the end of the Stanley Cup. I'm interested to watch that. Because you look at a guy like Connor McDavid, who's been as good as he has for for like going on 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
Can he go and win his first Stanley Cup? That'd be pretty darn cool. They were talking about him winning the Conn Smythe even if the Panthers win the series.
Yeah.
Which would be unheard of, to win basically a Finals MVP without winning the Stanley Cup. Back to the topic at hand with Tennessee and Texas A&M. Christian Moore has kind of been like their lightning rod all year for Tennessee. He was held hitless in Game 1. He went 1 for 3 in Game 2 with a couple of walks. They left him on base 3 times, which obviously is unfortunate for them. But realistically, their lineup, top to bottom, is always good. Tennessee, for years, has been really good top to bottom with their lineup. And that is what has saved them. If you remember the very first game of the College World Series where they played Florida State, they were down, I think it was 9-2 in the 3rd or 4th inning. They came storming back. They scored, I think, 5 runs in the bottom of the bottom of the 9th and went on to win the game. That is how resilient that team is.
Yeah.
They are the number 1 team in the country for a reason. When you go down like that, they are trying to claw their way back. Now, history is not on their side. The national number 1 seed has not won a College World Series championship since 1999 when the Miami Hurricanes did it. So history is not on their side. They just burned Drew Beam, who I believe is their top starter, in Game 2. So he's not going to pitch in Game 3. However, they will still. I mean, their pitching staff's so good. They're still going to be throwing out. I don't know who. I don't think they decided who they're. I don't think they decided who they're starting in Game 3 yet. Let me see if they've announced the starters for Game 3. No, I don't think they've announced the starters for Game 3 yet. But regardless, that is going to be fun to watch. Yeah. It really, really is. Because this is two of the best teams in all of college baseball. If Tennessee gets out to a lead early, Texas A&M's bullpen is good enough to hold a lead. These two teams, as good as their lineups are, the pitching is just as good. These are the number 2 and 4 teams in ERA in the nation. I was looking this up before Florida played Texas A&M in the semifinal, and I had seen that. I was just looking at team ERA because I knew Texas A&M was a really good pitching team, and I saw that I think Tennessee was second, and then A&M was fourth. I don't remember, but it was second and fourth. I know that. I don't remember which order, but I'm pretty sure it was Tennessee then A&M. But it was Texas A&M's bullpen is really good. They got a lot of dogs in that bullpen, and so does Tennessee, man. Like, it doesn't shock me that these two games were especially Game 2 was close, 4-1, 9-5. All right, but if you look back at the first, Game 2 and Game 3 of the College World Series last year, Game 1 was tight with Florida and LSU. Waldrop pitched a good game, and then they had, I don't remember who pitched Game 1 for them. Skeens was burned in the Wake Forest series, but that was a close game. And then Florida blew them out in Game 2, and then LSU blew out the Gators in Game 3 to win the College World Series. So their pitching wasn't as good in both of those aspects. And LSU never even had to use Skeens in Game 3 because he was prepared to pitch out of the pen if they needed him. And they never had to because they had such a big lead. I don't think that's going to be the case. I could legitimately see this being a one-run game. I'm excited for this. I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm, intrigued to see, who comes out on top. If you're watching history, I think you got to be on Texas A&M if you're a better.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
However,
go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm excited to see this. I think a lot of people, if you haven't been paying attention and you haven't been watching, obviously now is the time to do so tonight and to give, to give an opportunity to just really see what this is all about, to see how it all kind of shakes out and how it all finishes. This is exciting. This is what you want. This, as a fan, is what you want. I mean, maybe not, Texas A&M fans are probably like, no, Dan, I didn't want this. I wanted to win yesterday and be done. But
you want to winner take all game,
right? But you
for the good of baseball, you want winner take all.
So
Game 7s are the greatest thing in sports. College World Series doesn't have that. They have Game 3, right. But having a Game 3 in this situation, it's a winner take all game. It makes it the most exciting. Think of all the championship series that have come down to a decisive Game 7, right? You have, realistically, right now going on, Stanley Cup Final. It seems like the NBA was done a week ago.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, being in this situation, being in a Game 7, being, when it comes to Edmonton versus the Florida Panthers, and then in the NHL for the Stanley Cup, and then getting to watch this scenario with winner take all, Texas A&M and Tennessee. Listen, in the softball world for Division I, Oklahoma just did a 4-peat. They've won 4 straight national championships, 4 straight World Series. So congratulations to Oklahoma. On this side, it's open now, right? Texas A&M and Tennessee, neither one of them played in the College World Series last year. Like we said, that was LSU over Florida, Ole Miss, Oklahoma before that. So we're looking at SEC versus Big 12, which they're both going to be in the SEC now. And so that could have been SEC because of Oklahoma joining now. And then 2021, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. 2020 was canceled due to COVID. 2019 was Vanderbilt over Michigan, so SEC over Big 10. 2018 was Oregon State over Arkansas. So that was...
You want to know something, though, about Michigan that year? That is rare for a team from the North to have a deep run in the NCAA tournament and make it to the College World Series, let alone the final.
Yeah.
It's rare for teams in the Big Ten or for teams in maybe not so much the Pac-12, because like the Pacific Northwest, like you don't have this much snow to deal with. It's like it's cold, but you don't really have the snow to deal with. Like you don't have to go south to play. Like these teams in the Northeast or like in the Northeast or in Michigan or in Minnesota, they all got to go south in order to play for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, because college baseball starts in the middle of February.
Yeah.
Like these guys are kicking off. Like Michigan probably can't even practice on the field until the middle of March, and they're already playing games. They've already been playing for a month before they can even get out on the field to practice. So that's rare for teams up north to make it to a College World Series final. I apologize for cutting you off there, but I think that's a point that had to be made when you look at that Michigan team, because that was a good team.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, when you start in February, softball and baseball starting so early, I mean, I know it firsthand here for Lemoyne that their softball and baseball starts down south. They go to the Carolinas, they go to Texas. They're spending...
Did they play any like SEC or Power 5 teams when they were down there?
So they played the baseball team. I'm trying to think. They played St. Louis. They played Houston Baptist. They played... I don't think they played any SEC. And then softball-wise, they play a little bit of everybody. But, yeah, I mean, they typically will... And the thing is, it's not Division II to Division I. It was not an atypical season because Tracy Roman, the head coach for Lemoyne softball, and then Scott Cassidy, the head coach for Lemoyne baseball, the way that they schedule is they push themselves to play top-tier teams, ranked teams, and no matter who they are, and they test the heck out of themselves. So I don't feel like this year was different in the sense of their ability to test themselves or the places that they're playing in. But they're in the Texases, they're in the Floridas, they're in the South Carolinas, they're in the North Carolinas, they're in the Virginias, because
you got to go south.
Yeah, they have, and that's where they spend their first couple months. I remember, in March you hope that the weather's going to be better, but you never really know. So
I remember when I was playing, and we were Division III, right? We were, we'd play a couple games up north sometimes. Yeah. We'd have to go down near Philly, because there's a couple teams in Philly that have turf fields that we can go play on. We played one year where we went on to the other side of Scranton where there was a turf baseball field, and we played. We played the University of Scranton one year before we went to Florida, or right as we got back from Florida, because they play on a turf field. There's a couple times where we didn't get to play on our field until mid-March, until after Florida. And obviously down in Florida, you're playing, it's 75 degrees and sunny and in March, and it's great. But you have to go travel to go play games.
Yeah.
But then you come back up north and you're freezing your butts off.
No, I mean,
because there was one year where we played the University of Scranton. I think it was late March. It snowed.
Yeah.
It was 35 degrees.
Yeah, we had a game.
It was a night game.
We had a game in March. Was it in March? No, it might have been later than that. And it was a softball game. Weather was beautiful, blue skies, sunny, 31 degrees outside. And so, I mean, you never know with playing in the north.
At least it wasn't snowing.
No, I mean, but you never know. I mean, again, I think, we were dealing with snow for women's lacrosse this year, and Cal came over from the West Coast, came and played Lemoyne in the first game of the season, and Lemoyne won that game. But you're talking about, I mean, how many times, high school-wise, college-wise, are there, if you go and you watch the game, you can see that there's snow piles pushed off the fields because, it had just snowed, and that's, like literally you're watching a game at OCC and there's a snow pile off to the side when it comes to lacrosse. So getting back to it here, Vanderbilt beats Michigan. Oregon State, another North team on the West Coast, they beat Arkansas. That's Pac-12, which doesn't exist anymore, allegedly, over the SEC. And then there's Florida over LSU back in 2017. That's SEC. And then go Gators. And then there's in 2016, I just want to go back the last 10 years.
This was the coolest one.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt, which I'm a fan of because I've gotten to know and make some personal connections to Coastal Carolina and the Chanticleers. But Coastal Carolina defeating Arizona, Sun Belt over the Pac-12. Then Virginia over Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt over Virginia. In back-to-back years, they played each other. 2015, the ACC best the SEC. Then the SEC in 2014 bested the ACC. Before that, then UCLA in 2013, coming from the Pac-12, defeats Mississippi State of the SEC. And that goes back a little bit farther than the 10-year window here. But we're seeing SEC, ACC, ACC, SEC, Sun Belt, Pac-12. Then it's back to the SEC. Then it's Pac-12, SEC. Then it's so. I mean, when you look at the last 10 years, you got at least one SEC, be it a champion or not, or a runner-up. You got SEC in 2014, SEC in 2015 that were at least there. No SEC in 2016, SEC in 2017, SEC in 2018, SEC in 2019, canceled due to COVID in 2020. Then there's SEC in 2021, an SEC team in 2022, and an SEC team in 2023, SEC in 2024. So the SEC has been in every championship of the last decade except for 2016 when Coastal Carolina faced off against Arizona. So the SEC has either been the champion or the runner-up every year outside of 1 year and the year due to COVID. They have been in every single championship for the College World Series since 2014 to now, outside of one season and the COVID season. So, I mean, that's that. The Coastal Carolina, Arizona is an enigma in all of this, but you're seeing the SEC vie for a championship, and you're seeing the SEC win in 2014, 2017, 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 no matter what. So, I mean, that's insane. I just
want to jump in for a second.
For football, I want to hit this really quick. Yeah. Everybody talks about the SEC for football, but they absolutely dominate when it comes to baseball. And now that Oklahoma has a four-peat, where's Oklahoma going? The SEC. So just so you all know, if Oklahoma gets a fifth for softball, that's going to count for the SEC, not the Big 10, Big 12.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But I want to jump in just for a quick second on Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
Because it's not every day that you see a mid-major team going on to win a national championship in, a big-time sport like this. Yeah. But I will say this. Baseball is the one sport where mid-majors really can't compete. Dallas Baptist all year was ranked. I think they got up to as high as like 19 or 18 in the rankings.
Yeah.
Dallas Baptist had a great year, right? You see schools like that. You see schools like Campbell. You see schools like Coastal Carolina. I want to try and find what the final rankings were in college baseball just to double check. UC Santa Barbara, East Carolina, Indiana State, UC Irvine, then Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist finished the year at 25. But yeah, like look at that's just the amount of mid majors that are in the top 25. What was it, six or seven there? I think I rattled off.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, okay, so UC Santa Barbara, East Carolina, that's 2. Indiana State, UC Irvine.
That's 4.
Is Southern Miss SEC?
So no, Southern Miss is now Sun Belt. They were Conference USA.
Okay, so 5. So it's 5. So you got UC Santa Barbara, East Carolina, Indiana State, UC Irvine, Southern Miss, and Dallas Baptist. Okay, so 6. So you get 6 mid majors that were ranked in the final rankings. All of them obviously made the college. All of them obviously made the NCAA tournament. And then you had Evansville that made noise and came out of the regionals and made it to the super regionals against Tennessee and forced a game 3. They won game 1. Forced game 3, but they won game 1.
Yeah.
They beat the team that is in the college that is in the final right now that could very easily go on to win the national championship. It's probably the ones, and you could say lacrosse, you could say soccer, or whatever.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, those sports are not broadcast the same way that they broadcast baseball, football, softball, and basketball. They're just not. It's a shame because I feel bad for these athletes because they're very good players.
Yeah.
And knowing a couple of Stony Brook lacrosse players from, through my one of my best friends from college, they're just not broadcast as much, right? But from the sport, as far as those four sports that are, well, five, because if you count the women, which they should, so you got men's and women's basketball, football, and then baseball and softball. So those five sports, you don't see mid-majors winning national championships all the time. It's rare.
Yeah.
But out of all of those sports, I think you can make the argument that baseball and softball, probably more so baseball, has mid-majors that have a legit shot at winning championships, like Coastal Carolina did. Dallas Baptist all year played great. I think they lost in the regionals, but still, they had a great year. They were 2 seed in the regionals, I'm pretty sure, and they were fun to watch. I watched a couple of their games. They were fun. They were a fun team to watch, right? You had, like I said, UC Irvine was up there. UC Santa Barbara was up there.
Yeah.
They were ranked higher than Cal. Cal wasn't even ranked. That's how you know. That's how you know that these teams are good.
Yeah.
Baseball is, you see so much talent in baseball that these kids will go. And even if you look at the top players in Major League Baseball, the ones that went to college, there's not a whole lot that went to big schools. There aren't. There are plenty that are, right? But there's a lot that went to mid-majors or Division II or even Division III, for that matter. Josiah Gray went to Lemoyne. They were D2 at the time, right? I think with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he went to Lemoyne. I think ESU's got a kid in the minor leagues. There are Division III schools that have players in the pipeline or in the major leagues. It can happen. It can. You don't have to go to an SEC school to make it to the big leagues. You don't.
No.
It helps, but you don't have to.
And keep in
Jacob
mind,
DeGrom
East
went
Carolina
to
from the
Jacob
American.
DeGrom went to yeah. East Carolina's a really talented team.
Yeah.
But they always are. East Carolina's always going to be ranked. They are an extremely talented program.
Right, but they come from the American, and the American doesn't always get a lot of respect.
Yeah, you're right. But in baseball, they do, right? Yeah. That's the sport where they get the most, out of it. But I just want to jump in on that note because I know how much you advocate for the smaller schools that not everybody knows, and I just think in baseball, that's the one sport where you really do see these teams that shine.
Yeah.
And they go out and they play well, and and really are hurting some of these big teams. Now, in the end, this year it was 4 ACC and 4 SEC teams. Final four, you got down to 3 SEC, 1 ACC, and then the national championship, you got 2 SEC teams, right? So in the end, the SEC we all know still dominates college baseball, right?
Yeah.
But Evansville played a 3-game series in the Super Regionals against Tennessee, right? Yeah, they got blown out in Game 3, but they probably got blown out because they used all their best pitchers. The biggest difference with the SEC versus the mid-majors is the SEC teams tend to have a little bit more depth. If the mid-major teams had the same amount of depth, they'd easily be able to compete with these teams. If Evansville had a little bit more pitching depth, they probably could have been in that Game 3 in the Super Regional.
Yeah,
but they're so fun to watch, though.
No, and like you said, when it comes to lacrosse, you see some teams that you're not typical of seeing, right? Women's lacrosse, Stony Brook, perennially can be ranked in the top 3. So, and my little sister Franny plays for them. So, seeing what they've been able to do, seeing the Evansvilles and the East Carolinas and the Coastal Carolinas, like we mentioned in the baseball world. There's teams that when it comes to the baseball world, when it comes to the soccer world, when it comes to the lacrosse world, there's teams that can find their way to elevate. I mean, Syracuse sat down for many years with Ian McIntyre, and a couple of years ago, he brings a national championship to Syracuse, New York, my hometown, and here's the Syracuse Orange playing for a national title, a North team playing soccer, and I don't think people gave men's soccer in Syracuse really much of anything. I spent a lot of time with Ian, like I said, and just talking about things over time, and then here they go win a national championship, and everybody's flipping out over it, and it's like, okay, so now they have national championship in men's lacrosse, they have national championship in football back in 1959, they have a men's soccer national championship, they have, of course, the men's basketball in '03. So when you look at it now, I mean, Syracuse joined this history, Syracuse men's soccer joined this history of the Orange, but that was a team that was counted out. So when you watch sports like soccer, like lacrosse, like softball, like baseball, and you see these other come up teams, like if you don't know East Carolina's good at baseball, you're not paying attention. And
they're always good.
Right.
Always good.
And again, we're talking about the Carolinas. And we're talking about, North Carolina, South Carolina, East Carolina, obviously, is in North Carolina. And when you see this success and you see these moments, it makes you stop and hopefully people, get to know these schools and appreciate it. But I love seeing that. The NCAA tournament for men's basketball, you get to see it a lot. For women's basketball, at times, you get to see it. Syracuse a few years back with Coach Q went to their first Sweet 16, their first Elite Eight, the first Final Four, their first championship game. They lost to UConn, but they ran the table. It wasn't South Carolina. It wasn't Tennessee. It wasn't Notre Dame. It wasn't Louisville. It was Syracuse. So there are these moments that I really hope people take out and appreciate because it's something that, you love to see when it's not your usual suspects, so to speak. I did put up a poll here, 2 polls on X, the former Twitter. You can go to X and vote in this at CallDT. That's CALLDT. While you're here, click follow. Who are you picking to win the finale for the 2024 College World Series, Texas A&M or Tennessee? Right now, the early voting is 85.7% for Tennessee, 14.3% for Texas A&M. I also put up who will win Game 7 and take the 2023-24 Stanley Cup, Edmonton Oilers or the Florida Panthers. There are 57.1% has voted for Edmonton, 42.9% for Florida to win Game 7. You can vote in these polls all the way up until game time for each, so make sure you go to X, the former Twitter, at CallDT, that's CALLDT, and vote in our College World Series poll and our NHL Stanley Cup Game 7 poll as well. Getting into this really quick, Murph, before we do my Remembrance Day celebratory moment for G-Mama and welcome on my mom and my aunt, I do want to make a note about the Yankees because we were talking about how good the Yankees are and leading not the American League but all of baseball, and a great season that they're having. They were having it without Garrett Cole, which a lot of people, myself included, did not think it would be this good without your ace. And now that he is back, you hope that a team stays healthy. And they've gone through some injury here. Unfortunately, we know that Aaron Judge got hit in the hand, but he was able to come back. Anthony Rizzo, their first baseman, on the 60-day DL. He went from the 10-day injured list to the 60-day injured list, and that was on June 19th. And then we look at some of these other things here. Giancarlo Stanton is on the 10-day DL. He expects to be out for roughly 4 weeks as a result of his strain.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I got him in fantasy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Giancarlo Stanton, designated hitter, was on the 10-day injured list here, and now it says he said yesterday he expects to be out for roughly 4 weeks as a result of a strained left hamstring. So that's where things are currently at right now. So Giancarlo Stanton, who hasn't had the best of seasons,
he was so good.
He's out. Anthony Rizzo's out. Aaron Judge they thought he would be out. He obviously came back in. But here's my question to you, Murph. Now that the Yankees are showing up on the injury report, what are your thoughts? Because this was a concern. And when you talk about a team being in first place and you talk about a team not being injured, as soon as we said that a week or so ago, I was like, oh, I got to knock on wood. I got to do something here. Because once you talk about a team being as good as they've been, Garrett Cole coming in, what did I say? I said they just have to stay healthy and not get injured. And as soon as that comes out of your mouth, you're like, oh my goodness, what if they do? Because that happens in baseball all the time.
Yep.
So, here we go with the Yankees, but can they withstand stuff like this? Can they withstand Rizzo? Obviously, Judge came back. Can they withstand Stanton? How are you looking at, there's other guys on the injury report as well, and some guys that have been relegated to Scranton Wilkes-Barre so that they can, find their way back up. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on the Yankees right
now? Well, my thoughts on the Yankees as a Mets fan are, as a baseball fan, this is terrible for the game. This team, I genuinely had no idea that Giancarlo Stanton was hurt. I had no clue about that until you just told me, and I went and I had to pull him out of my lineup. All the freaking guys I have on the IL these days is getting ridiculous, but on the bright side, they did have a kid. I think his name is Ben Rice, more known as a catcher, but he came up to play first base in place of Anthony Rizzo. And I've seen some of the memes. Like the kid's just he just smiles.
Yeah.
Like he reminds me a lot just of his personality of Brandon Nimmo, just always smiling about everything. He, he got a couple of hits. He's looked pretty good. Yankees do have outfield depth. This would have been the time for Jason Dominguez to come back, but he's hurt in the minor leagues, so he will not be coming up to the majors anytime soon. So, you still got Verdugo, you still got Soto. They still have a solid core. They didn't lose. Judge isn't out. Stanton's been pretty good, but Stanton's been like a home run or bust type of hitter. So you could put somebody in there that can hit for power. They just acquired J.D. Davis from the A's, who has experience playing in New York, so he knows everything about playing in New York. He's a right-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium. That's usually any hitter in Yankee Stadium that's got any semblance of power can usually do okay in Yankee Stadium. So J.D. Davis would probably be a good, nice little pickup for them. Could probably maybe play a little bit of third base, but will most likely DH. Stanton is out. But the rotation has been healthy, knock on wood. They got Cole back. Luis Gil's been outstanding. I think he did just get – I think he got – was it the Orioles? I think the Orioles beat him up this week, if I remember correctly. That's going to bother me. I gotta double check that. I'm pretty sure earlier this week he got beat up pretty bad by the Orioles.
Yeah, they did. They did struggle against the Orioles.
He gave up 7 runs in an inning and a third. His ERA jumped all the way up to 2.77. So that was by far his worst start of the year. But he's been a revelation for that team. He's been, a very good pitcher for them. He's been, dominant for the last, month and a half or so. So he's been really, really good outside of this Orioles start. But, Rodon's been meh. Stroman's been pretty good for them, which, I'm not going to say it. But they've been pitching it well, which is saving them, right? If you pitch well in Yankee Stadium, that lineup's going to hit, you're going to do well. All these years we've been saying pitching, that's their problem. And they finally got, some pitchers that are going to be helpful for them. And their lineup's doing well, too. They're still one of the best teams in baseball regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, again, it's about doing what you need to do to stay healthy. Some things are out of your control, but a team withstanding this, they've withstood when things have happened. Obviously, this year playing the majority of their games without Garrett Cole, and now having some time without Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton. God willing, everything will be well for those Yankee fans. It is time to have our remembrance for my G-Mama. And so joining us on the phone here right after this fast break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, joining Murph and I, are going to be my mom and my aunt, and that'll happen right after this. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. We appreciate you being here with us every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And today is a very special day. For those of you that know my grandmother, and that memory lives on, of course, to me, she's up in heaven watching over us, and I know that she is, and I know that she's made herself very apparent recently here, and to me, and she is a lot of things. A person who found positivity, a person who gave me advice that I can literally use in every scenario of my life any day of the week. Today we remember G-Mama. Today is her Remembrance Day. It's the day that she went back to heaven. It is not a day that is somber and sad. It is a day where we celebrate the life of an incredible woman, an incredible person, an incredible friend, daughter, mother, and grandmother, and wife. And so today, as we celebrate my G Mama, and you could see her on the screen here on YouTube and Facebook, both.com/wakeupcalldt, I showed her my wake up call t-shirt, my original wake up call t-shirt that had the phone for the C and call. I showed it to her. I brought it to the house, and she looked right at me and she goes, "Is this mine? Where's mine? Do I get one?" So she had an orange one and a pink one, and she probably had a white one too. But today we celebrate Marie Cavino, the mother of my Aunt Donna and my mom, and of course the grandmother of Nico, Miguel, and myself, and the wife of Tommy Cavino. With that being said, my mom and my aunt are joining me here this morning. How are you both doing?
We're good. Okay, Dan.
So I want from each of you, when you think of Grandma, when you think of your mom, and Mom, I'll start with you. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Grandma?
The first thing that comes to mind,
Yeah.
she would go, I would come in and I go, "Hello, Mama." It would go, "Debbie Do." That's what I hear. Debbie Do or Deborina in her little voice. How about you, Donna?
Yeah.
I would ask her, I said, "How are you doing, Mom?" She goes, "I'm clear. I'm clear." That was the answer. That was the right answer, too.
I'm clear.
I'm clear. She'd say, truly, Donna would walk in and say, "Mom, are you clear? Mom, do you know who I am? Mom, what day is it?" And she would say, "Why do you keep asking me?" "Oh, I'm clear. I'm clear." I mean, I think of some of the things she said and did. Yeah, she was a little crazy. But I probably can't say them on the air. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she was very funny. She was one of the funniest people. She was very funny.
So I think we can all agree, and I know that people watching and listening know this about me, is that humor is important to me. And not only is humor important to me, but it's part of our family. We all like to laugh. Grandma, very funny. As she got older, even more funny. And she used her age as a means to say whatever she wanted because she thought she was old enough. Aunt Donna, I'll start with you. Do you have a moment? I mean, I know some of them we can't share probably, but what can you say about as Grandma got older, the fact that she just, I mean, she loved to laugh in general, but she would say things and do things and she'd get going. And when she got laughing, you couldn't help but laugh with her.
Yeah. Oh, God. I can't even say these. I can think of one. I can't. I mean, I can. But they're all bad ones, so you really can't. Yeah, you're right. I can throw one in while she's thinking. Oh, my God. When we were sitting there one day, and she looks up and she goes, "Wow, he's a big one." And I go, "Mom, you can't do that."
Yeah.
And I know she did it when she was with you before, Daniel.
She did it at an ice cream shop. She, I had...
Yeah. You and I lived in North Syracuse at the ice cream shop.
Yeah, I had the window cracked a little bit. I was by myself with Grandma, and there was a woman that was walking up to get ice cream, and she looked at me and she goes, "God." And I said, I looked at her, I was like, "Yeah, Graham, what?" She goes, "What?" She goes, "You can see." Like she's looking at me like, "What do you mean, what?" And she said, "She needs ice cream like I need a hole in my head." And as I looked at her, I put her window up and I said, "We're going to wait in the car for a little while before we go up."
She got worse and worse as she got older, but she would say, "Oh my God, she's as big as a house." And I'd say, she knows she's fat.
but Grandma would always, I mean, she would tell me, and we would do this all the time. It's one of my favorite things to do to this day, but I don't think anybody did it better than her, is my grandmother, G Mama, would love to people watch, and she could go anywhere at any time. If you brought her to the fair, because Lord knows, and listen, I'm from Central New York and I love my people, but we all know there's when everybody comes to the fair, that everybody that comes out of the woodwork, and you never know what you're going to see at the fair. And we would go to the mall, to the food court at Carousel Mall, which is now Destiny USA. And she looked at me one time, she got her hands around her coffee. She's like, "I could do this all day." But she loved it. She absolutely loved it. But Aunt Donna, I want to ask you this. When you think back to memories of grandma, be it childhood, be it growing up, be it more recently, do you have anything that you just look back and you say, like, I'm really happy I got to do this with her, or I'm happy that we had this together? Do you have something that kind of sticks out in that respect of like something you did with her?
Well, there's a picture that I have. I think it's my profile on Facebook. And it's a picture of me looking up at her. And I'm probably about maybe 3. And we're in Florida. It's just a beautiful picture. I just love it. I don't remember it, but it was really
I know what you're
sweet.
talking about.
What did I do with her? God.
Sit in the sun.
Yeah. We sat in the sun. Oh, God. I remember her hearing was going. And she said, "Where's Debbie?" And I said, "She's in Atlanta." She goes, "Montana?" Atlanta. And he goes, "Aunt Anna." Atlanta. What did you just say?
I can say about this, and this is something I talk to people about all the time, is when you would call grandma and you would say, I'm coming in with the boys, and it would be like a Saturday or a Friday at like 9 o'clock at night, and grandma would go, she'd be like, okay, I'm gonna make dinner. And so you'd get in Saturday night, 9 o'clock at night, and she wouldn't make dinner. She would make a massive dinner of 40 stuffed shells, sausage, meatballs, as if the store has no food left. And I would look at her and I go, Graham, what are you doing? She's like, the kids are coming. I got to make dinner. And we would eat dinner together at 9 o'clock at night. And she did this religiously. Well, they're going to be hungry when they get here. And she would make a full Italian meal in the middle of the night to make sure that everybody was fed and went to bed full.
That's funny. Yep.
So, Mom, what about you? Do you have something?
I do remember. It's funny you say a picture. I have a picture in my room I just found. It's me and my little pixie haircut with my little bangs, and I'm holding Mom's hand, looking up at her.
Oh, see?
And it's a really sweet, because she always reminded me. I have no idea why, of Lucille Ball. I have no idea why. But I remember that, and I think probably my best memories are the last number of years I had with her. To be with her, to really get to know her. I think after Dad died, to really get to, take her out, her and Viola grocery shopping, where Mom had dementia, Viola was legally blind. I'm like a tour, and they're calling me and they're laughing like hell at Wegmans because they know this goes on every single week.
Yeah.
But the memories, like going to do the scratch offs and having coffee. Her just saying the same thing and me just nodding, yeah. But then those are, I think it was later on in years when we had lost Dad, it got to be, because, when you're younger, you're kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And you're working and you're going to school and everything. But then I think later on, as I got to appreciate what she was about, it should be like a little history book. And she would tell stories and say, you remember that? And of course I didn't remember it because I wasn't even thought of at the time. You know what I mean? She'd be in her 30s or 40s, but you learn, that's when you learn. I think it's probably the lessons like that.
Yeah. She would always, she was so funny with Dad. And when they were dating, they would drive down the street and there would be a nice looking woman.
I know what you're going to say.
Walking down the street, and she'd whistle really loud.
She had a man's whistle.
She'd hide in the seat, and it looked like it was Dad just whistling at his feet. So Dad would be sitting in the car.
She was, and this lady turned around and looked at Grandpa like he was a dirty old man. It was her. It was her. She used to do that all the time.
Oh, God, she was funny.
She's
very funny, and she had, remember that song she used to sing about the paint?
Oh my God!
Yeah. And the thing is I've been like thinking of that song and singing it recently. So
it's a real song.
Yeah, and she must be around. But I to me, family, everything to her, and Christmas Day was at her house, and she did the food, and she did the preparation, and she did the tree, and she just wanted everybody to be together, be it Christmas or something else. Aunt Donna, what does it mean to you that you got to have two sons, in Nico and Miguel, and, which I'm eternally grateful that you and Aunt Ev did everything that you could to adopt Nico from Peru and Miguel from Guatemala and bring them home to our family. The crazy thing is they look like you. They're the same color as you, and they look like your children, and they are your children. When you think about Grandma, what does it mean to you that she got to meet them, she got to know them, to spend so many years with them? The fact that the boys have so many memories with them, just what that means to you.
I think I'm sorry that I didn't get to know them more. That's the one thing. Because we lived so far away, it was hard. But I think both my kids sort of adopted that family is first, and I think they got that not just from me, but from Mom, And they didn't know Dad. I mean, Nico doesn't remember him, but they remember Mom. And I think, I wish she had been able to see them more. They could see her more, and they would have known her better. I'd love to watch them destroy the house. When you three used to oh my God, doing all kinds of the gifts that you'd buy, the crap you used to do, and jumping on the bed. And Mom would be like, "Oh my," But then again, Daniel, and Donna can prove this to me. I'm living in the house now. This house had rugs and carpet throughout the house, and we had to get into our family room, you have to go through the dining room, or you have to go down the hallway.
Yeah.
And number one,
she used to let me rollerblade in the house.
Rollerblade and tricycle in the house through the dining room.
Yeah.
We had to walk on plastic down the hallway. Dad used to say, "Nope, I'm going to walk right." No, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We couldn't walk. No, not until Dana came along. Then he got to ride his bike.
Yeah.
Got to rollerblade.
I got to play with her hair.
Another one. When the tree fell down on, the big willow tree fell down in the yard. Oh, that was great. She was babysitting for you. She went outside because, of course, the tree. Because the post standard was there, and she says, "There's a quote in the post standard: Delmar Place will never be the same." Because that's her. She said, "Because I'm a bad grandmother, I just left my grandson in the house by himself." He was sleeping. And a nickname. He was sleeping. He was a minute old. Yeah, that's what she. And where was she? Just smiling with her lipstick on, talking to the reporters. Yep, she was. And I have that. I have that newspaper clipping. Ralph and I remember we were trying to call her because, of course, you were here. Yeah. Couldn't get a hold of them. And we come flying over here. We got the doors flying open. There's the tree, the 55-foot weeping willow, laying on the side of the house. And where's Grandma? And we're looking at her like, "Where's Daniel?" There she is talking to the reporters. And she was like too worried about talking to them. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it was funny. The house was totally black. Yep, pulled all the wires out of the house, crashed the side of it. Yep, I mean, you didn't move. You were sleeping, Dan. You did good.
No, I mean, and maybe that's why she let me do what I wanted to do, because she let me jump. Because she'd be like, "I don't want anybody jumping on the bed. Who's jumping on the bed?" And they're like, "Daniel." And she's like, "Oh, well, that's okay." So.
The three used to jump on the bed. What about your favorite memory, Daniel? What is your favorite? Do you have one, or do you have like many?
She used to wait for you to pull out of the driveway when you would have me stay over there for like the weekend or something. And Grandma would wait for you to pull out of the driveway, and you would go, "All right, Daniel, no monkeying around, no climbing." And I treated Grandma's kitchen like it was a jungle gym. And she would give me Grandpa's old cane, and I would put the cane inside of like the stuff that she had over top, and I would hook it in there, and I would swing to the other side, and I'd swing to all these other places. in the kitchen, and I'd use the cane all the time, which is why I have Grandpa's cane. And you can see that there's some wear in the middle of it because I used to use it as a Tarzan swing. But she would go to the door and she'd go, "Yeah, Deb, yeah, okay. No, I'm not going to give him Skittles. No, Deb, I'm not going to do that. No, he's not going to be monkeying around." And then she'd wait, and she would go, "Wait, wait." And I'd be hiding. She'd go, "Wait," and she'd go, "Okay, now go." And then I'd put the cane in there, and I'd swing around as soon as you pulled out of the driveway. Grandma used to take me to get cards, and she would go, "If your mother asks you," she goes, "hide them." She goes, "Hide them. And if your mother asks you, tell her that you have them already." So,
So many, we're not going there. Sports cards. She's taking the sports cards.
yeah, and I would also say, you know, I mean, my favorite memories with her. I mean, for goodness sakes, I got to live with her. When I started my company, when I started Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, I was living with Grandma and literally had 27 cents in my pocket, $103 in my bank account. I was 26 years old, and my favorite roommate of all time, including my ex-wife, because she was a nice roommate, not really. But, you know, I mean, I think living with Grandma, it was just, you know, I got to live with my best friend, and I got to just learn from her. We played War, and every time we would sit at the table and play the card game War, I would be transported back every single time we played. All of a sudden, I was this mushroom haircut, 3-year-old kid again, sitting at the table with her in the same space, same spot. And I mean, from War card games to, you know, just sitting and talking in the family room to probably, you know, knowing when I would go to the game, I'd turn the game on and she'd go, "What are you going to wear?" And she said, "I'll look for you." And every game, I remember one time too, I turned on Goodfellas and I'd never seen it. It's like a 4-hour movie. And I said, "Grandma, do you want to watch it?" I think it was on AMC. And she goes, "Yeah, let's watch it." So we're watching the movie and Pesci's in it, you know, and they're killing people and they're cutting people up and putting them in the trunk. And I looked at Grandma and I go, "Are you," and obviously it's an Italian movie. I go, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" I said, "No, you know, it's just a little bit violent." She goes, "Well, do you want to stop watching?" I said, "No." She goes, "Okay." Then she'd turn around and her feet would go and she'd just do her little rocking chair and watch the movie in silence. I go, "Grandma, it's 9 o'clock. Are you tired?" "No." "Grandma, it's 10 o'clock. No." "Grandma, do you want to shut it off?" "No, I'm okay." And she proceeded to watch the entire Goodfellas movie, all of the violence, and then she goes, "Okay, I'm ready for bed." And I just remember looking at her going, "As sweet as you are very much an Italian. You just watched this entire mob movie," and she watched it in silence, totally peaceful, just like a good card-carrying Italian.
Nice.
But, yeah, I mean, I think every memory I have with her is meaningful, and, you know, all the simple things, the watching Price is Right when Plinko would come on and we'd run over to Plinko and watch it, and, you know, doing scratch offs with her. I remember one year we went to Tops in North Syracuse and we kept winning, and we literally bought like 9 or 10 scratch offs because we kept winning. We'd buy more, and then we'd win and we'd buy more. But, you know, honestly, I think being able to help take care of a woman who took care of me my whole life was one of the greatest gifts ever. And we laughed all the time. She taught me so much. She brought me through hell and back. And, you know, to me, she's, you know, obviously Jesus Christ is number one. My grandmother, in my opinion, is the greatest human being that, you know, I've encountered besides Jesus himself. And I don't know if there's a better person. We went on dates to the zoo. We went to the movie theater. My mom would tell me, you know, she's 99 years old. She can't go to the movies. She can't do it anymore. And at 99, we went to Movie Tavern. I got her chicken tenders and coffee, and we watched Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. I said, Grandma, do you like the movie? And she goes, what? I was like, did you like the movie? And she didn't say anything. And then I asked her a few minutes later, go, Grandma, do you like this movie? And she looked at me, she looked at Kevin Hart and The Rock on the screen, and she made a weird face, and she goes, I don't trust either one of them. And I was just, I'll never. But yeah, I mean, everything's a memory with her is a good one. I mean, she brought this family together, and she took care of all of us, no matter how old we got.
You know, her last birthday when she turned 100, she was playing cards with you. We left. I went home. I was over. It was 10 o'clock at night. She was still playing more.
Yeah.
I think you walked in as clear as day. Because you stayed at my house that night. The two of you stayed at my house that night because of... It was bad weather. The weather, remember the storm.
Awful weather.
And she was at 10 o'clock crank, and I had been here since 1, and I said, Ma, you know, the aides were here. I said, I got to go. I'm exhausted. And you sat here playing cards. She goes, I'm not, after she had eaten half of a ice cream cake. Yeah. And she was wondering who was turning 100 and whose cake it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty funny night. But she was clear as day. She was as clear as day that day. I think one more memory I'll say, because it's so typical her. It was Good Friday, I must have been. And she wouldn't let us play outside during the hours that Jesus was on the cross. So she would have us sit. I remember we had to sit at the table, right facing the wall. Facing the wall. She'd be watching her soap opera ironing, blah, blah, blah. And I'd say, but she goes, I'm not talking. La, 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 la. That's true, Dana. 3 hours. Yeah, from 12 to 3. Because Jesus was hanging out across, and we're looking at the wall. Yeah. She's watching.
So she told you to look at the wall, but she could still watch her soap opera.
She didn't talk.
Yeah.
She didn't talk. So she could watch her soaps, but Donna and I had to stare at the either end of the table at the wall. God. Yep.
So I'm going to ask you both this in closing here this morning.
Okay.
Aunt Donna, what do you want for G-Mama's memory to live on? What do you want the world to know about her? Like the lasting impression, advice, or something, like to share her with the world. What should carry on from her, in your opinion?
That's a hard one, but I talk about her all the time, so I'm not sure why. Just that she was great, and she was the funniest person I knew, and good human being. And I think I got a lot of whoever I am. She liked Donna better than me. No, she did not. No, she did not. But she was just a great human being, and I always tell stories about. So I think I think I would just like her memory to live on, and that's why I will say her name, and I talk about her, and I do that with my kids all the time. We talk about her because they knew her. They didn't know her well, but they knew her. I mean, for a long time. Yeah, I'm sure they did know her well. They did. Yeah, they did. So I don't have anything particular except that she was a funny, good. That's it.
Well, thank you for that, Mom. Yours?
I would say, Dana, that she was probably the most loving person in the world. She really was. She had a lot of love. She was as funny as hell. She'd come out with things that you just... And I would just... I mean, we were in doctors' offices when she would make comments, and the doctors would look at me, and I just shrugged my shoulders. What are you going to say to a 99-year-old person or a 100-year-old? You just shrug and let them talk. But she was strong. Oh, yes. Grandma was a very, very strong lady. She held her own. As a little teeny, I think her heaviest weight was 115 or 117. Yeah, maybe. And she held her own always in life. And I think she made both of us become very strong women and hold our own also. But I can say that every time I think of Grandma, today it's with a tear in my eye. It's usually with a smile on my face. Yeah, yeah. And that's the biggest gift of all. My last words to Mom were, I love you. Mm-hmm. And she kissed me on my cheek. So, and she told me she loved me back. Those are the last words before she went to bed that night. So, yeah, I think I always smile when I think of her.
Yeah, and I think, to share mine. There's two moments, and when she was in the hospital and she had pneumonia,
Yeah.
and I came in, she had her eyes closed, and my dad was sitting there, my mom was standing next to her, and I walked in the room, and her eyes, it's like we could always feel each other, and she opened her eyes like a little slit, and she goes, Daniel Boone. And then she just started singing, and people, and my dad. Now she was singing. I forget what she was singing.
He had 2 songs.
But yeah, and the funny and the "I Love You" a bushel and a peck is right over in my bedroom. There's a cross with Jesus on one side, and on the other side it says "I love you" a bushel and a peck. And her picture's right by that, because she would always say, and she would say a squeeze, but she would go, and a squeeze around the neck. And then she would hold it, and she'd go, oh, that one hurt. Because she'd try to hold it as long as she could. But she was singing that day, and I had so many people ask me, how's your grandma? How's your grandma? How was she at the hospital? And I said she was singing. And they said, what are you talking about? They said she's 100 years old, she has pneumonia, and she was singing. I said, yeah, that's what she does. My grandmother's not a negative person. And she, I remember that day, my dad looked at my mom and he goes, you know what? And my mom finished the sentence. She goes, different when he's around? Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember, I remember coming into the house, and one of the aides was like, Mom called me up and was like, hey, Grandma won't get out of bed. She hasn't been up all day. She won't eat. She won't go to the bathroom. And so I went over to the house, and the aide goes, oh, Daniel, thank God you're here. She goes, your grandmother won't get up. I go, hey, Graham, want to have some lunch? And she goes, okay. And we got up. I think she said, yeah, I think she said no to me 4 times in my life. But, I think my favorite of all these memories, and this is going to be really hard for me to get out, but when I was living there, I was in my Aunt Donna's room at the end of the hallway. My grandma was on the other side. And I don't know, it was like 11 o'clock at night, something like that, 10, 11 at night. And I just hear her. And she goes, Daniel. And I said, yes. So I ran. I said, Grandma, what is it? What do you need? She goes, oh. She goes, sit down. So I sat on her bed. And she's laying like she normally is on her back. And she's probably the woman that was the most put together in bed. I don't know if there's anybody who was more put together even when she was laying down in bed. And she looked at me. She goes, I have to tell you something. It was on her heart. And I said, okay. I said, what is it? And she said, I just want you to know something. It's going to be really hard. She said, you're going to be a good father someday, and I need you to know that. And I said, why are you telling me this right now? She goes, I just need you to know. She said, you're going to be a great father someday, and I know that you will. Do you know that? And I said, I think so. She goes, I need you to know that. You have to know that.
I didn't know that.
And I said, okay. And I held her hand, and it was very emotional. I got emotional. I said, are you planning on going somewhere? She goes, no, I don't think so. And she would always say, where am I going? And she just said, I want you to know that. And I said, okay. And she goes, you need to promise me that you know that. I said, I know. And then she kissed me on my forehead, and she goes, all right, go to bed. And now I want to go to bed. And I walked down the hallway, and I just laid there for a while. And obviously I'm not a father yet. And, but it's just the way she looked at me. It was like that night, amongst some other nights, I was like, is this it? Like, is she passing on? What's going to happen? But I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, you're going to be a great father, and I need you to know. I need you to promise me that you know. And there is no better soul than her, and to this day, I take her everywhere I go, because if I don't take her with me, I'm lost. So we miss her. we remember her every day. But I think it's great that Nico and Miguel have spent time with her, that I've gotten to spend time with her. Obviously, that you both were raised by her. And I told this story over the last couple days. I said, my grandmother never dated after my grandfather passed away. And it was like 30 years. I said she never dated. And I asked her, I said, Grandma, why? I said, you're a beautiful woman. You're an amazing spirit. You're such a good person. You know everybody. I feel like any guy would want to take you out. And she looked at me and she goes, who am I supposed to date? And I said, well, Grandma, I said, you're an amazing person. She goes, when you have the best, where can you go from the best? And she said, why would I date anybody else? I had the best. And when Grandma, I don't know if I told you this, Anton, I don't know if I told my mom this, but when Grandma passed away, I remember kneeling by her bed and I looked right at her face and I smiled and I go, I know you're not here anymore. I know you're up there. I know you're not here. And the first time I saw her after she passed, I pictured heaven. I don't know how this came to me, but I always say that God is we're very connected, and I appreciate that. I saw these clouds, and I saw this fog in the clouds. It was all white, and there was a gate, and on the right of the gate, it was open. And my grandfather, they love to dance, from what I was told, and my
wasn't very good.
yeah, but he must have had time to learn because
He danced because she wanted to.
Yeah. Well, and in this moment that I had, I saw him, and he was walking out of the fog, and she had her back to me, and she was walking forward in this open part next to the gate, and he walked forward. He did not say a word to her. He grabbed her hand, he put it up in the air and held it. He put his other hand by her hip. He looked at her, and he just danced with her in silence. And I thought, you've waited 30 years to do this, and you've been patient. And I'm just happy that they finally got to dance together again. And I know that they're happy. I know they're safe. I know they're well. And, I miss them both terribly, but I think the best thing about our family is that we have each other, and we have the opportunity to continue to make memories in their honor and to continue to be good people to each other and good people to this world. And I think the legacy of Grandma and Grandpa is just to be kind, to be good, to help others. And I think that they will never die as long as we keep our spirits positive and we continue to just keep our family close and be good to each other.
Amen. All right.
So, with that being said, I love you both dearly. I love you, Nico and Miguel. And I look forward to seeing you guys later as we celebrate Grandma in just a little bit when we have a meal together.
We'll be going to Texas Roadhouse so we can see. That was one of my favorite memories. You know that, Daniel.
Yeah.
With her on the saddle, with the Indian gentleman on the wall, and her looking like they were twins.
Yeah, she looks exactly like them.
It was the funniest thing in the world. But yeah, so we'll remember her tonight. She liked it there. We'll remember her tonight when we're there for dinner.
Yeah, we will. So, thank you both for celebrating with me today, and Aunt Donna, thank you for being another mom in my life, a person that wasn't just an aunt and didn't just see me because she had to, but since I was a little kid, you have made a conscientious effort to be in my life, to talk to me about my interests, to reach out to me, and to have long conversations about all different things in life. And not every aunt does that. And I just really greatly appreciate the fact that you made it a point to be a part of my life from the beginning. And Mom, you already know. So I love you both.
Love you too, Daniel.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Okay. See you later.
See ya. So that coming from my mom and my aunt, and of course we celebrate today G Mama as you see her up on your screen. Next to God, Jesus walking this earth as a human being. my second favorite human being, Marie Cavino, my G Mama. So God bless her and God bless y'all, and thank you for listening today. Murph, I know we got some card stuff to show. I appreciate you being patient here as we did the remembrance here, but I thought that you being here for it, I wanted you to be, because you're family to me. You're a little brother to me, and I wanted you to get to know her a little bit better, so I'm happy that you stuck around.
There were some really cool stories there, man, and it reminds me too of time I spent with my grandmother too, and now obviously both my grandmothers, neither one of them made it to 100. So clearly your grandmother was blessed with great health for as long as she was. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what. Now I don't remember my dad's mom as much because she died when I was young. She died, I think, 2009, 2008, 2009. I was like maybe 9 or 10. No, 2007. So I was 9.
Yeah.
So I didn't really remember her as much. But my mom's mom, who passed in 2018, that was for me, it was always that was grandma.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from my grandma Mildred, she was amazing. I loved her to death. The last couple of years were hard for her after she had a stroke. She couldn't really communicate with us.
Yeah.
So that was tough. But with her, I will never forget that until the day she died, the one thing she could always say clear as day without issue. My grandfather's name was Tim. He would try to figure out what she was saying or whatever. And she'd look at him and go, "Oh, shut up, Tim." And it still came out clear as day every time.
Yeah.
And then my mom's mom, my grandma Dolores, she was my mom's dad, my pop died. He died in 2001. So 2001 was a rough year for us.
Yeah.
In 9/11, my Uncle Don was killed in a car accident, and then my pop passed. 2001 was not a very good year for us, but I was 3, so I don't remember all that much about him other than him throwing me the little cushion baseball, and I'd hit it in the backyard and everything like that. But for my grandma Dolores, so she ended up with Alzheimer's. So for years, I always wore these purple wristbands that I had gotten.
Yeah.
Just purple color for Alzheimer's awareness and everything.
Yeah.
And I had a few people ask me, why I wear purple when my school's colors were green. And I, explained to them why, and they thought it was a cool tribute. And I wore them every game. And when she died, I put them in the casket with her before they closed the casket. But that was pretty cool. But the one thing I will say, because it actually came up last week. So the one song she always sang, and I'm curious to hear what the song that your grandma would always sing too, what that was. But the song she always sang, and it's ironic because of the disease she was dealing with.
Yeah.
The name of the song was Unforgettable. That disease makes you forget all these things. And the one song she still could sing till the day she died was Unforgettable. I was going to get that tattooed on my arm. I haven't done it. I think I'd still like to do it, but the thought of getting a tattoo kind of still skeeves me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But if I was to get one, that would be it, and I'd put it right here. But yeah, and when I was at my friend Trevor's wedding last Saturday, that song came on, and anytime I hear that song, I think of her. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But you guys had some. There was the one story I will say that I get a kick out of is her letting you ride. Was the scooter or the rollerblades in the house?
Yeah.
Or something?
Honestly, my grandmother had a million rule. She had a bunch of rules about the house. No jumping on the bed, no playing on the
She let you
sofa
do
in the
it.
living room. Don't run around the house. Don't mess with her hair. Don't be climbing on things. And every single one of those rules was for everyone except for me.
That's the part that I thought was funny. That like she would like for you, she wouldn't. It was like, uh, but I mean, maybe it's because like you were her own blood too. Like obviously your adopted cousins, obviously they're just as much your little cousins as or your cousins as as your brother is too. But it could be too that like you were her own blood.
I think it
That I
just
mean,
we
I
just
mean
had
it's
a
it's
relationship.
possible,
We just had
but
a
you don't want to play favoritism now.
no. I mean we had a bond that I mean, my mom tells me all the time, I have my grandfather's eyes. And the interesting thing in my life is women throughout time, high school, recent. Like if I go on a date, the last girl I took out on a date, I said, "What's the first thing that you know?" I didn't even get the words out. I said, "What's the first thing?" She goes, "Your eyes." And I have the same eyes as my grandfather. They're somebody in high school called them honey. It's actually ironic because there was a girl named Ashley in high school that called them honey, and then the last girl I took out, Ashley is her name, and she, was looking at the eyes too. But my eyes are brown, green. Sometimes they have a yellow ring, and sometimes they'll change. And my mom told me the first couple of years after my grandfather passed away, my Papa Cavino, my G Mama's husband, my mom told me, she goes, "I couldn't look at you in the eyes because you have his exact same eyes." And I haven't seen anyone who has our eyes. And so I just find it interesting because my mom said you're a lot like him. You treat women like him, you're romantic like him, the values and all of that. And she also said, she goes, "You are your grandfather's grandson when it comes to getting angry." She said, "You will not get angry easy. It takes forever. But once somebody gets you there, like your grandfather, he just kind of like, all right, if you can get me to a point where I'm angry, you've tried really hard for a long period of time." And she said your grandfather would just go, "That's enough." And and that, to be compared to my grandfather in any way, shape, or form, slow to anger, positive, happy, and I try to be the best I can be. An incredible man. And my grandmother, I mean, all of my grandparents, but speaking on my mom's parents, I mean, G Mama, there is no better. I mean, I honestly believe when she went to heaven, she looked right at Jesus and like looked at her wrist like a stopwatch and went time to see if she got up there quicker than he did. I just, everything about my life was enriched by her. I remember she looked at me one day, she goes, "Are you my son?" And I said, "Pretty much." I mean, she, as much as I'm her grandson, I mean, she raised me, she taught me, and she taught me things about life that, like, I mean, every day, every single day, every hard thing in my life, I can go back to things that she said. And she used to sing "The Wedding of the Painted Doll" was the song we were talking about. And then she would also sing "I Love You a Bushel and a Peck." Funniest thing in the world is the "Bushel and a Peck" song came out so many years ago. And right after she passed away, State Farm started playing these commercials with "I Love You a Bushel and a Peck." Never heard the song unless she sang it. And that song, literally right after she passed away, showed up in those commercials. And it was showing up to other people who were telling me, like, "Did you see this?" And yeah, I mean, my grandfather comes to me almost daily with the number 213 because my number's 21, his number's 13. So our numbers always combine into 213. And I see that almost daily. And then my grandmother, I feel like when she passed on, she was taking care of some other things. And I think now she is showing up with me, and I think she's trying to remind me of some things, maybe trying to get me prepared for some things. But I'll never forget that, because anyone that knows me, they talk to me about sports, they talk to me about my career and travel, and you get to do this, and oh my God, you have a great life, and you're always busy, and da da da. And I love it, and I appreciate every blessing. Anyone that's known me knows that what I wanted more than anything in my life is to have love, to have that woman in my life that treats me just as good as I treat her, and that I'm not 90% of the relationship anymore, that I can actually share it equally, and to have kids. So when she told me that day, when she said, you're going to be a great father someday, and I need you to know that, I'm happy I brought that up today, because I have to remember that. And I'm not mad at my ex-wife. It didn't work out. I just, I've never wanted anything more in my life than to share love, and to have a relationship that is better than anything I could dream of, and is truly a gift from God. And I feel like my grandma and grandpa had that, and I want to have that live on with me. And my grandmother and my grandfather both know my heart, and they know that, no matter the accolades or anything that's happened in my life, they know my heart, and they know they're like the one thing that he wants more than anything in the world. So to know that I got taught love from the two of them, I don't think you can have a better teacher under God than Tommy and Marie Cavino.
Yeah. I like I said, I think there were some really, but I think everybody has some like really great stories with their grandparents, and it's the ones that, you know, sometimes it's the ones that make you emotional are the ones that, are the most powerful, right? Like for me, not necessarily makes me emotional, but I always smile when I think about it, because I know, obviously she couldn't communicate in the end, but the last time I went to go see my mom's mom, my grandma Dolores, um, I'll never forget it because of the circumstances. So this was when I was driving my Honda Civic at the time that I drove in college.
Yeah.
It was near the end of June of 2018. It was like 97 degrees outside, and I had no air conditioning in my car. None.
Yeah.
So windows open, I was dying, absolutely dying in the car. But I would have done that drive again 100 times. Get there to Colts Neck, New Jersey, where her the home was, and get there, hang out. My cousin Nova and her daughter Elizabeth were there. My Aunt Flo wasn't. My Aunt Flo and Aunt Donna were not there yet. It was my mom. I don't think they were there yet. My mom, my cousin Nova, and her daughter Elizabeth. So we were hanging out for a little while. We put the Met game on. She loved watching the Mets with me when I was a kid. So we put the Met game on. She kind of saw her smile a little bit. And then I think I went and got some pizza from a pizza place around the corner. Came back, had lunch, and then I left sometime midday. Like maybe a little before dinner time or so, because it was like a 2-hour drive home, and I needed to be home for something with my dad.
Yeah.
But when I left, I kind of put my hand on hers, kind of looked at her and said, "I love you." And then I saw her look straight in my eyes, and obviously she couldn't really communicate, but you could see it in her eyes that was like, "Love you too." And that was the last time I saw her, and I drove home again in 95-degree heat, and it was. I will always say this: that was I couldn't have asked for a better last memory with her. It was as perfect as it could be. And then I think she died probably 5 or 6 days later. But when they put her on what's it called, on end of life care hospice, when they put her in hospice care,
yeah,
and then they stopped everything, she made it like almost a full day. Like my mom always said that she was a rock. Like she would fight harder than anybody.
Yeah.
And it was even more true as in the last few months, because like that January we were worried we were going to lose her, and she battled through, she powered through, and made it all. She made it all the way to the 4th of July, and obviously so ever since then the 4th of July is like I guess a little bit of a somber mood for my mom and her sisters, and it was one of those things where it was, especially the first year after, like that July 4th of 2019, that was tough for her. So we didn't really do anything. We didn't go out or whatever. We just kind of stayed home. We barbecued, and that was that. But I try to keep it somewhat low key on the 4th of July every year.
Yeah.
Just think of her a little bit. But she's with my pop now, and they're I'm sure they're having a grand old time, probably going bowling or something. I know when I was a kid, anytime I heard thunder, my mom would say that it's pop bowling a strike in heaven. So they love bowling, so that's something they're probably doing up there, and it's always nice to look back on those memories as especially as you get older, because you want to try to remember them for as long as possible, right? Like you don't want to forget about those things. They might be gone. I mean, like all my grandparents are gone, but I don't want to forget the memories that I had with them. Like my dad's dad, who died in 2010. I was 12 years old when he died. I still vividly remember that when we would play pool together.
Yeah.
We'd go. He taught me how to play left-handed, for that matter. Because there was a time where he told me, like, if you're ever against, like, how, like, if you're against the right side and you can't really reach, like, put it behind your back, he goes, just hit it lefty. He's like, just do it. So I did, and he, like, that's the only sport I could legitimately play left-handed, like, and probably not as good as right-handed, but still.
Yeah.
And now, we all, like, anytime we went to go see him, we always went and played pool. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I can play basketball left-handed, but I mean, and I appreciate you sharing those memories and that connection. My grandmother's last bowling pin she knocked down is over my shoulder, so maybe they're playing some doubles. Your grandparents and my grandparents up in heaven. But Murph, I have in this GG Cards and Breaks sports card show and tell, I have one card that I'm gonna show. I had a few, but I have one that I'm going to show just for the memory of today. And, I mean, I have so many from my grandmother that I'll probably share throughout the week, but I have one for my other grandparents that I'll show today. And that card, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. They are your one-stop shop for sports cards and trading cards in general. They have everything from hockey, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, all sport, AEW, UFC, as well as Disney Lorcana and Pokemon. They have packs, they have boxes, they have singles, they have graded cards. They have all the supplies you need to protect your cards, carry them in boxes, put them in binders, one-touch cases, all different top loaders, sleeves, and more at GG Cards and Breaks, the home of building memories in the sports card world with those that you love, and of course, building some of those personal memories with yourself, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5 on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse. This is the one I'm going to show today. It's for my dad, it's for my grandpa, and it's my Derek Jeter. I know you got one of these. This is, I think, a 6, or this isn't.
I think mine's an 8.
Yeah, so this is a 6. It's in 1992, which is the day that the year that both of my grandfathers passed away. It's also the year I became a Jeter fan, when he was a rookie and found his way out. I was given the choice of buying a Jeter or a A-Rod poster from our book sale at Our Lady of Pompeii. I asked for a Jeter. I think I ended up getting both, but I became a Jeter fan from the beginning of the beginning, and I got this card for my dad, who is here with me, thank God, and my grandfather who's up in heaven, my grandpa Ralph, same name as my dad. So I just want to shout out my Gammy and my Pop Miller. I call him Pop Miller and Gammy Miller. And so this Jeter card brought to you in our GG Cards and Breaks show and tell is the one that I wanted to show today. What do you got for us, Murph?
That's a cool one. I was going to show other stuff, but I'm just going to stick with the one card that I got yesterday. The one and only card I was able to get a deal done for at the show. It's not as sentimental as that, but it's just an Anthony Richardson RPA. It is numbered to 199. I love the absolute RPAs, man. I just think they look really cool.
Yeah, that's the
This
Trevor
one has the
Lawrence one I
football
got.
on the 2 jerseys. I wish the patch was a little better, but, that's still pretty cool. But that's the only card I was able to get in a deal yesterday. I was trying so very hard to spend money, and I couldn't. So that's what we ended up with.
Yeah, I definitely I understand. And Murph likes to buy. So do I. But so GG Cards and Breaks show and tell, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. When you see Murph, know that he's fair, so do some deals with him here in the future. DT and Murphy, and obviously remembering G-Mama today. Murph, thanks for being here for it. Thanks for being so much more than a fellow broadcaster. And, I love you, little bro. So I look forward to seeing you soon and having some good conversation, hopefully getting to do something in person soon.
Absolutely, my friend. We will talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care. That coming from Brendan Murphy here inside of our Heritage Hill studios for DT and Murphy. As always, on a Monday, we're going to take a final step aside and wrap up today's show right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card shop. Make your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today, as well as for trading cards like Disney Lorcana and Pokemon. You will find singles as well as packs and boxes, graded cards, and more, all at GG Cards and Breaks. So make sure you head over there today. Open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. A 7-day-a-week sports card shop, caring about the community, helping the community, and being led by tremendous people. And it starts with Josh and Anthony, and I can't thank them enough for the opportunity of working together and their care and concern and appreciation that they have for the sports card and trading card world, as well as for our incredible community together. So much love to people that are so much more than simply people that run sports card shops. They're somebody who cares deeply. They affect positive change in our community. They go the extra mile, and they definitely help me feel like home. So God bless to you guys, and thank you so much for all the work that you do on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Go and experience the difference today. With that being said, inside the Heritage Hill Studios, I want to thank Brendan Murphy for joining the show. I want to thank my Aunt Donna and my mom, Debbie, for joining me to remember G-Mama today. Of course, Wake Up Call is with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. We're also available on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a big time thanks to all of our incredible partners. Go and visit them in Central and Upstate New York. Heritage Hill Brewhouse, Heritage Hill North, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, Pizza Man, Great Lakes, Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, and of course, we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. Get more information at LemoyneDolphins.com. Bryan and Stratton College's Syracuse Bobcats. Get more information at Syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And proud exclusive multimedia marketing partner with your Binghamton Bearcats. Get more information on BUBearcats.com. You can find all of our content with Lemoyne, Bryan and Stratton, Syracuse, and Binghamton by going to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Lemoyne playlist, our BSC Syracuse playlist, and our Binghamton playlist right there on our YouTube channel, so you can go straight to the content for each of the schools that we have our partnerships with. And of course, you can find them on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. With that being said, I appreciate y'all. I thank you all. Facebook at wakeupcalldt, X at calldt, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. And as I always tell you, from the Heritage Hill Studios, God bless, no stress, do your best. And G, I love you a bushel and a peck and a squeeze.